Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for a transfer deadline day special where Chelsea do F4 as usual. Bloody hell, why is there sound? Do excuse me, please. Do excuse me, please. My computer is having weird problems with itself, just like Chelsea. Nah, I'm taking the piss. We will debate today whether, why we actually haven't signed anybody. Obviously there will be the one side where we're like, why on earth? Just do something, for goodness sake. But, there will be another side of the coin where we're like, was it potentially smarter not to sign anybody, depending on who we could have signed? But we will get into all of that. We will talk about Tottenham being funny, Lampard going to Everton, and a few other things. As you can see on screen already, ladies and gentlemen, do excuse me. We are joined by two very fantastic special guests. I love to big those two up. I love to big those two up. I can't talk today. But anyway, we'll get through it. Pice, cheers for coming as always, bro. How are you, first and foremost? And what a weird deadline day, What a weird deadline day.
Yeah, I'm still closely following this Dembele situation because, first of all, I didn't think we was going to do anything today, but the more time goes on, there's still quite a bit of Dembele rumours, and Aubameyang as well is something that we can watch because David Ornstein said earlier that obviously Barca, basically the deal was off unless Barca found money, right? Literally just now, Barca president has said it looks like we'll pull Aubameyang off, and then as I've just tweeted, it said that Dembele has various solutions. The last one, if he accepts it, is he will move to an English club. So I don't know. Let's follow it minute by minute. I don't know what's going to happen. Nothing may happen, but I wouldn't rule anything out with Chelsea. You know what we're like, especially the last few hours. So I'll still stick to my pessimistic self, but I'm not ruling anything out because something could happen, or it could just be PR. I don't know, but I'm still following it closely.
Excuse me. There you go. It is very interesting. I mean, first of all, cheers Chelsea, cheers Barcelona, ruining everything with title and thumbnails and all sorts of things. But if a madness does happen, we'll probably sit here and be live again at 1 a.m. in the morning. So here we are. Don't know who'll be here with me. Might just be me by myself. But, we do what we do. We're also joined by Con. As I told him earlier, the sexy zombie. Con, how are you? I hope you feel better now after your nap from earlier. Do you agree? Weird deadline day. It's just nothing. Pies, to be fair, it's just said something is kind of happening, but until that, nothing was happening. And I say deadline day, it's all window.
Oh, bro, no, there's something happening. Chelsea are looking to get an 18-year-old for the academy, and what do you mean, bro? That's exciting business for Chelsea. Another academy player. Let's go. This Dembele thing, I've just been keeping my eye on it. I'm not hopeful at all. I think what Pies just said there, I think that might be Arsenal for that Dembele link. But who knows? Who knows, bro? You never know with Chelsea. It's always Saul,
God, I swear to God, right? If Dembele doesn't end up joining, if he joins another English club, I would just be what is even the point in having Tuchel's manager? This is Tuchel's guy, man. You cannot let that happen.
Laurenz, I'll make you a deal, bro. If he somehow magically signs for Chelsea at 1 a.m., I'll be here with you, bro.
I appreciate you. I mean, Arsenal, I don't know. I read this morning that he's not interested in any English club other than us. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what I read. Can't remember who I read it from, so I can't even say whether I myself found this to be reliable or not. I just read it somewhere. But yeah, I guess I see Con's logic in the sense of, that's what Barcelona want him to do, but he doesn't. So that's why he won't end up at Arsenal, but that's what they're hoping he accepts, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, yesterday, I'm not sure how quite reliable it was, but yesterday we were all sat here thinking PSG's Dembele's going to PSG, were we not, Pies?
Yeah, I mean, that looks like it. There was a couple of really good French sources come out, so the player had an agreement, but it looks like that one, I can't remember, Simon Jones from the Daily Mo is quite good. I think he said it stalled over, FFP, yeah, that's it. Something to do with FFP and PSG or something like that. That one looks to be off. But yeah, I don't know. I always thought in the back of my mind maybe he'd go to PSG. He's French, Paris the capital. I think he's been linked there before. Last summer, I think they tried to get him to go there. And I thought, it might be a little bit of an Mbappe replacement, but looks like that one's off. And yeah, just I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Yeah, it's very weird. But the more this Aubameyang situation goes on, that makes you feel like they've got rid of Dembele because they, as Ornstone said, they had to get rid of someone with big wages to do this. So unless it's some unknown player, then Dembele must be off somewhere, right? So hopefully something's happening. Like I don't know. Like I don't want to get too gassed, but again, as I said to the viewers,
Pice, bro, I don't mean to interrupt you, bro, but
yeah.
I think you know this source, innit? I think his name's like SHLUGASSI.
Yeah, Lukaku, yeah.
He literally tweeted out a minute ago. So Laporta said, as for Aubameyang, Amani tells me that we can do it. The last offer for Dembele arrived from a Premier League club, and that was a minute ago, bro.
Yeah, I tweeted that. I tweeted out what Laporta said, which is, it's weird. He said if it depends if Dembele accept it, it's to go to an English club. Like that, toppled with Sky Sports guy outside the front of the stadium said there's been a flurry of activity. Like I don't know. Let's see what happens.
A flurry of activity where?
In the Chelsea upstairs, apparently, he was saying Gary Cotterill was outside the stadium.
All right, let's see what's happening. But I'll ask you to a different question now. Would we even want Dembele like right now, as this like last second, like 31st of January? God,
yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, no, but let me finish the question, because what I mean is, how long will that take? Like, will it be another Pato where he'll make his debut on April 1st? Do you know what I mean?
I do get what you mean a little bit, but for me, actually, it's funny because everyone was like, "Oh, we'll get him in the summer." I actually prefer to have him now, to be honest, because I think in the summer, I just feel like in the summer that'll be their big winger signing. Whereas, like, I don't know, like to offload someone in the summer and then get Dembele, I'm just like, that doesn't get me as gassed as now. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like with the Diaz situation, right? Like, if Diaz, Liverpool have got him in January, like. That's such an amazing signing. Like you could just bed him in now, and like that would be perfect.
I mean, it would be on the one hand. Obviously, some people always said, "Oh, we have too many like attackers, then we're only going to sign someone like Dembele if one of them goes out." Personally, I never quite agreed with that because half our attackers, mind you, are playing wing back. So yes, we have a lot of attackers, but not all of them play in attacking positions all the time. So. And I guess it also just depends on the formation, because now that over the last few weeks, we've actually changed things up every now and again. It's not the same anymore. It's not like we only have two positions plus Lukaku, essentially, right? It opened up things a bit more. It opened up for Mount to not play in the front three. It just opened up a few things. But I don't know, Con, for you, would you be down for it, Dembele to turn up at midnight tonight?
Of course, bro. Like, if you think of Thomas Tuchel, right, and you say, tell me the player that comes to mind when you think of Thomas Tuchel. Who are you going to say? It's Ousmane Dembele, isn't it? It's what everybody would say.
I'd say Thiago Silva probably, but I hear you.
Oh, no, that's a good one. But, like, for me, like, that player is, like, for Tuchel's like Ousmane Dembele, you know, and it wouldn't have been expensive. Like, I know, like, he's got wages and all that, but, like, where's really the downside in this? If he completely flops, we'll be able to resell him, you know. We're masters at doing that. We've done it for years. And it's not like he's a Ross Barkley or Giroud or something like that. It's a Ousmane Dembele who everyone knows he's got bags of potential, you know. So I don't know, man. It's like, I personally, for me, it's a risky deal because like the injuries and all that. But financially, I don't think it's that bad for Chelsea. It wouldn't be that bad of a move, if that makes sense, because he will always have resale value, regardless. He just will.
Well, so long that his feet don't fall off, I suppose. But the question is, well, obviously we don't know, is if it were to happen today. I personally still doubt it. But if it were to happen, we don't know whether it would be a loan with an obligation. Well, no, it can't be an obligation because it would be out of contract. But would it be a loan, or would it be that we sign him? Because all that Barcelona really need is taking him off their wage bill. If they really badly want Aubameyang, then all they want is someone to take Dembele off their wage bill, right? So you could just take him on loan. But I guess that would mean we would have to like cover all of the wages, and because it would still be the same contract, it would just be a loan, right? So it's a really difficult one. Pice, do you know what wages he's currently on at Barcelona?
I believe it's 210,000 a week.
All right, Rudiger will be happy if we get Dembele then.
It's a weird one. Like Fabrizio's just confirmed the Aubameyang's transfer is now back on. So, like, the thing is, Laurenz, for me is I don't think anything would have happened, but I trust David Ornstein a lot, and he said like that would only be back on if they got rid of someone with big wages. and the only player they're trying to get rid of with big wages is Dembele. But knowing our luck, it's probably not us, and it's another club. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
It could be. It's just such a weird one. Like, the weirdest part. What do Barcelona want with Aubameyang? That's the weird part. Like, the weird part isn't like, oh, we're going to get Dembele on deadline day. Like, the weird part, what on earth? Like, apparently, since Xavi turned up, they now want to get rid of Depay again, who they literally only just signed. They're trying to get rid of Dembele. Sure, I get that he's way too injury prone and maybe some disciplinary problems he's had at Barcelona as well. But outside of that, surely he fits Xavi's football way more than Aubameyang. Like, the Barcelona is such a confusing club, like, honestly. And who even bloody knows what PSG do? Because obviously you mentioned that earlier. It's like, oh, could they send him here? Could they send him there? Financial fair play for PSG, really? Because financial fair play doesn't affect wages, does it? So I'm not really sure how that would ever stop anything. But who the bloody hell even knows? Let's discuss for a minute as if we didn't sign anybody or won't sign anybody. I did a poll earlier as well. Con kindly retweeted it, so we got a few more like opinions. We'll get into that later. But if we weren't to not sign anybody, would you be super upset about it, Con, or is it a case of you've just accepted that a long time ago already anyway? Or do you kind of... Because I've seen a lot of people saying in the sense of, well, yeah, we all wanted signings, but if the players you want, you can't have, then it's better to sign no one rather than sign more Barkley, Drinkwater's, Bakayokos. And I'm like, you're not wrong. Like, sure, both of you could throw in the argument, well, don't sign the next Barkley, Drinkwater's, Bakayokos. Just sign good players. But you also know the Chelsea board. I'd rather no one than shit players. Do you know what I mean? I'm not including Dembele in that now, but, So that's why I'm not sure how upset or annoyed I even am if we don't sign anybody. Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. I've accepted it, but am I happy? No, of course not. I wish we still didn't have like this mini break of football and we're still playing, because fans would realise, oh, Marcus Alonso at left wing back is a massive issue. I feel like because we haven't played for a good few days, everyone's kind of forgot that problem. Like, Aubameyang Sarr is not the best option for left wing back. Like, he played left back in our back four, but when he was playing left wing back, like, he offers nothing going forward. We desperately needed the left wing back this January, and we've known about Chilwell since December. And then we stalled on him getting surgery, even though it came out that, was it the specialists, whatever they were, recommended he should have surgery, but we held it off. Like, what are you doing, Chelsea Football Club? Like, what the hell are you doing? And people say, oh, we've got so many left wing backs and left backs on our books, but look at them, man. Like, just get somebody in. You're trying to bring Emerson in all window. Like, he has an option to buy, So if you're bringing him back, that goes. And we're going to have to try to find another club for him, for someone who's not good enough. Like, let him go there. He's performing pretty well there. And let's cross our fingers they buy him at the end of the season. But you have to bring a left wing back in, man. Because Chilwell's not going to be back this season. And he's probably not going to be back for a while next season. And when he is coming back from an ACL, that's going to take time, Laurenz. He's not going to come back and be the Ben Chilwell we had this season. It's going to take time. And with Ben Chilwell as well, he's a player who suffers a bit mentally, So he is going to have to get over that mental block as well. So it's not just the physical, it's the mental for Chilwell too. So we desperately need a left wing back. I'm furious that we haven't got one. I'm absolutely furious we haven't got one. And then other positions, you could have argued could get like a Dest. I know he's not the greatest player in the world, but he could play both sides. On a loan, it wouldn't have been the worst option in the world.
Well,
like, there was so many...
Yeah,
of course he can. He could go forward. He could go forward, bro. Like, if he's playing a wing back, Sarr's not going to be good at wing back. Like, in the back four, when he just has to defend, all right, he can do a job. But when we're playing with wing backs, what's he going to do, bro? You're going to see Maitland Sarr doing, like, overlaps. Do you know what I mean? Next time, it's not going to happen.
That away at Spurs, he was bombing all up that wing.
And I don't take this as me, like, having a bash at Maitland Sarr. Like, I think he's done a great job for Chelsea this season, all things considered. But we needed a wing back this season, and it's poor from the club. It's extremely poor. And the fact we just wasted all our time at Emerson, it's a joke. It's a joke, man.
That is true. Like, joke or not, it's just embarrassing. Like, Chelsea, I feel like people should be competent enough to figure out, can we get Emerson back, yes or no? Like, myself and Pies obviously did the stream with CFC News page here today, and he was like, well, Chelsea didn't expect Leon basically to tell us to F off. So I'm like, well, isn't it kind of like these people's jobs to know whether someone is going to tell us to F off or not? Like, this is a role player. Surely we should have some sort of idea whether they would allow us to get him back or not. And, Con, you mentioned it there earlier about their option to buy him. Nathan, so CFC News page, said they're probably not even going to do that unless they make Champions League football, which is looking very unlikely. So it makes it even more pointless. But my worry with it is because the whole Chilwell thing is, it's on one hand, it's a worry. On the other hand, it's kind of giving me hope in a way, because the only real left wing back or left back we've been linked with, or there's been talk about in terms of for the summer, is Sosa from Stuttgart, right? As far as I'm aware. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong and if I missed some link that apparently is out there that I don't know about. But he's the only one, right? He's young. He's playing for a team that's currently in the relegation zone in the Bundesliga. I mean, and they only have 18 teams. So, like, he's probably a decent backup. I wouldn't hate having him. You know, he has good stats. You know, everything seems to make, you know, reasonable amounts of sense. But not if Chile's not fit by the start of the season. If Chile's not fit by the start of the season, I'm not sure how much sense Sosa makes. Like, depends on how much longer after the start of the season. That makes me think they expect Chile to be back at the start of the season, but at the same time, you know, like Con mentioned there, and like Pies, you know, and I was speaking about in the past, you know, they were also told initially probably better to have surgery straight away, and they decided not to. But then again, this is throwing a bit of speculation in there. Like, who knows which doctor said what? Was it the, like, you know, there will always be different opinions when it comes to doctors. Like, that's why people, when they have medical problems, go to see different doctors to, you know, get different opinions. So who knows whether, you know, the first doctor that suggested that was more right than the Chelsea doctors, I suppose. Yeah, you can say in the end you needed surgery anyway, but how do we know whether it was worth the risk or not? But it still makes me think the fact that we've not been talked with anybody other than Sosa makes me think Chile could be back. Because if he isn't, and that's all we're going for, that's extra worrying to me, because, you know, obviously people said there, like, oh, that we didn't get Digne is super frustrating. And it is in a way, but I still hold that belief that who knows whether Digne in a couple, like when we signed Bakayoko, none of us hated it. Like Barkley and Drinkwater, none of us were particularly excited. Sure, I get it. But, or when we signed Alonso, none of us hated that at the time. Who knows whether Digne just ends up another one of these players that we want to get rid of and can't get rid of, right? Who knows? But at the same time, it's still better than Alonso, I feel like. Do you know what I mean? It's a... I mean, Pies, do you see what I mean in terms of that? Sosa's the only one we've been really connected with for the summer.
Yeah.
That kind of implies that Chile could be back?
I mean, it's an interesting one. I don't know exactly the timeline of Chilwell was going to be back, but yeah, I don't think it would be at the start of the season, right? I think it would be a bit after that. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, maybe we bring someone in and that guy starts at the start of the season. But I just agree.
They say usually 6 to 9 months, right, for ACL.
Yeah, like Con said though, you know, you know, he has struggled a bit mentally. Hopefully, he stays strong. But yeah, ACL it's very bad. I mean, you even just look at Van Dijk, who plays centre back. I know centre back doesn't even require as much running as a wing back or a full back, and you know, Van Dijk hardly runs bigger, nowadays. Right?
So the knee always has to deal with more force the bigger the guy is.
Yeah, but still, like, it's not just him. It's like pretty much everyone who has an ACL looks like half the player. So I think Chelsea are being a bit naive by putting all their hopes on Chilwell. I think if they think he's going to come back at the form he was before he got injured, they're just plain stupid. To be honest, I think it's going to be a process for him to get back to full fitness and full form. So yeah, again, I've said this many a time. I think it's stupid that we couldn't get Emerson back. I think, you know, I know we tried, but how hard did we try? Like, I still don't believe we tried hard enough. We only heard about a couple of bids that went in, and you know, we started the conversations pretty late into the window anyway with Leon, which didn't give them much time to get a replacement. And now we're stuck with Alonso Sarr, who's been decent, but he's not, you know, in terms of attacking going forward as well. Sarr's been decent defensively, but he's not a natural left back or left wing back. So, you know, he's playing out of position. And obviously the other one is Kennedy, who was literally forgotten about by Chelsea fans, who was out. I didn't even realise he was out on loan in Brazil. So
also, like, by the way, Flamengo had an option to buy him as well, or maybe even an obligation, and we called him back anyway.
Yeah, it's an absolute mess, honestly. I don't know why we haven't signed a left wing back. I've said it before, you know, I'm not a scout, but Chelsea should have plans in place that they clearly didn't. But, if Tuchel only wanted Emerson, then fair enough, I guess. But doesn't mean as fans we have to agree with everything.
No, it's true. I mean, the problem is like the way I assume Tuchel's thoughts are, right? Obviously, I could be well off here, but my logic is, well, the ones that he would want, like the top class left-sided defenders, wingbacks, whatever, you can't get those in January. You're not going to get a Theo Hernandez. You're not going to get an Alphonso Davies. You're not going to get any of the super players that we really need to replace Chilwell. We're not going to get those. So if we're not going to get those, signing anybody that's not those will just be another, like I just said, Alonso, Emerson. Do you know what I mean? Like another one of those players. So is that worth it? That's why I presume he preferred Emerson, because otherwise I have another one that I need to wait for us to sell before we can sign another good player in the summer. So I see the problem.
That's dependent on scouting, though. Like, there's no need to sign another Emerson or Alonso. Those were, even when Emerson came in, I thought he was average, you know what I mean? Like, you do if they're scouted properly. I mean,
No, but what I'm saying is our scouts probably thought these guys were great.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's a scouting issue. The same with Werner. I was reading earlier, someone brought onto the timeline when we announced Werner, Marina was like, "We're so excited to have a young attacker that was coveted by the whole of Europe and has proved he's lethal and things like this." Like, that's just such a generic statement that it's almost like, "Oh, hey guys, we beat you to this player that everyone else wanted," but he didn't actually put much thought into it, really, because he's not worked for us because of the system and the league, and just his general technical ability. Like, there's countless other examples, especially of our attackers, bro. Like, it's just, they all playing or prefer to play in different systems. They all have different attributes. There's no one that's really complete, like the complete package. So, yeah, it's difficult as a Chelsea fan to back the board and back the scouts. It really is, because, again, we're sitting here at 7:30 at night wondering if we're going to get Ousmane Dembele on loan. You know what I mean? Or we're going to have to wait until the summer on the 31st of January. Like, I don't understand. It's the same every summer as well. Our first signing in the summer is always like close to, past the midway point of the summer. Like, I remember last summer, right? I was like, when we started like ramping up the talks for Lukaku, I was like, oh my God, like, we're awake. Everyone was replying to Fabrizio, oh, we're actually awake. You know what I mean? Because it felt so long in the summer before we actually did something. And even then we only ended up with 2 players. And one was on deadline day, just like what might happen tonight. So it's just, how do you physically back this board? I don't know. How do you say to me, well, they're going to make it up to Tuchel in the summer? Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Where's your hope come from? Because you can't back it up. You literally cannot.
Well, I guess the only, proof or, evidence you have for that is Lampard summer, I guess. But that's the only one, really. And there you could debate, like, oh, how many of these were real Lampard signings? I mean,
but we had to do that. And sorry, Laurenz, we had to have Lampard, that summer anyway.
Might have been, but
we had to have that summer anyway, because we was catching up, because we was banned. So that was, we all thought that was amazing at the time, and Roman was back. But now, sitting here now, looking back on it, it's like we had to have that summer anyway, because we were playing catch up. We'd effectively missed 2 transfer windows. So, that, what else did you expect? You know what I mean? I don't know how I was so gassed back then, because if I thought about it more logically, then that was just, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but close to it, because we was playing catch up with all the other sides. So we had to make a load of signings. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we was forced to, and I'm sure there was an element of Lampard, legend, you want to back him as much as possible. But if that's their point of view, then how can you not back this manager? Like, he's won us the Champions League and has shown us, like, he's got into every cup competition final that he's entered with Chelsea. How can you not back that? How can you not go out of your way to do deals for this guy? Like, it's just the same old operating system. We're just slow, lethargic. And Fabrizio Romano said it on his stream earlier. He said Chelsea are really slow. Like, we've even got journalists taking the piss out of us. Like, it's not funny. It's just
Chelsea are really slow, bloody hell. That's what I
The way Pies just said that made me laugh.
I'm fucking fuming. I want to laugh through the pain. I'm fucking fuming.
Like, the weird thing is, right, Pies, that we were sat here with Nathan the other day, and he was like, essentially saying the board are kind of backing Tuchel. They're kind of just doing what he wants. But the question is, like, Tuchel is not a scout. Like Tuchel is busy enough with managing a football club, right? He's not the guy that's meant to have these amazing left wing back or left back options, somewhere stored in the back of his brain. Like he's not the guy that's supposed to be capable of doing that. But what I'm supposed to be capable of doing that is getting Euro Expert on my stream, and look at me being absolutely brilliant at what I do. Here he is, magic. Alex, cheers for joining us. Now, obviously, I would love to have you on and say, listen to all these players we've signed. How do you rate all of them? But, we don't do those things. So my question to you, and I'll get to Con after that because I haven't actually spoken to Con in half a second. My question to you is, when you look at the Chelsea squad, are you baffled at the fact that we haven't signed anybody? Or are you as an outsider, you understand maybe the Chelsea fans are a bit frustrated by it, but maybe there is some sort of logic to it?
I'm somewhere in between, to be honest. I think there's logic to it because I think it means Chelsea will go hard in the summer, and January is generally quite a hard market to navigate. But other clubs have proven this January they've done quite well. Look at clubs like Newcastle, Aston Villa, they've smashed it. And I will say as well, I read through what you were saying earlier actually on your Twitter about Chelsea and Tuchel apparently wanted to call it down. I haven't read properly into it, but I'd guess the only reason he'd want to stay chill at the moment is so he can go hard next season. And he's happy maybe to take the longer perspective, bigger picture. But I was just thinking it before. If I was a Chelsea fan, it may be like a 2 out of 10 window, considering you've not improved any of your weaknesses, and the team you're playing in the Champions League, Lille, have kept all of their best players who they were meant to lose. So it's almost like a double whammy there.
I'm still not letting you rope me into the fact that Lille are going to kick us out of the Champions League. We're going to beat Lille, right? I'm not letting this. I'm not even letting this.
I'm going to keep jinxing it. You're going to see.
I mean, hey, but I'm not. It's too early, bro. It's not even February yet. Let me not get worried about Champions League. I have to worry about Club World Cup first. We didn't win that last time we tried. So, let's hope we actually win that this time. But there is also minor news. Again, we don't know how serious this is, but the whole Aubameyang to Barcelona thing is apparently back on. The only logical way in which that could happen is if they get rid of one of their high wage players. So everyone obviously assuming this must be Dembele, and also Lampard saying, well, if Dembele just accepts going to an English club, then we'll be fine and we can get Aubameyang. Obviously, we don't know is that Chelsea, is that somebody else? Who knows? But I'm not sure. Have we spoken about Dembele before? You and I.
No, but I've looked into it and pinned him to Chelsea. I think he'd be a good move. But
is that purely on the basis ignoring injuries, or is that including injuries?
Oh, it's purely on the basis of ignoring injuries. It's imagining that, in fairness, that kind of jokingly, it's quite well known in Spain that Barcelona and Real Madrid have had a subpar medical and conditioning department. Like, if you look at their injuries, I think Chelsea, feels like they've had bad season injuries, right? And even now, I reckon if I checked, you wouldn't have had more than 10, 12 separate injuries across the team, maybe. Barcelona and Madrid have been averaging 40 to 50.
I think we've had 12 so far this season, but this is a one-off season. We're not usually this bad.
Well, yeah, Barcelona are averaging, I looked into this previously, they're averaging 40 to 50 injuries per season. Their numbers are ridiculous and off the scale. The big three, Atletico, a little bit less, but Real and Barcelona, they've trying to sort it out recently. So I do think, even though Dembele's had bad injury issues, I do kind of wonder, maybe that's just down to Barcelona just having this horrible injury record. It's not the only one there who suffered. Ansu Fati, he keeps getting injured. Titi's career's basically died there because he's carried on getting injured and they've never been able to fix him. So I do actually think of it and think, if Dembele goes to Chelsea, I'd be surprised if he keeps up this rate of injuries. And I think his mind of football, I think at the moment at Barcelona, he's kind of almost disinterested. I reckon if he goes to Chelsea under Tuchel again, Tuchel kind of brings his brain back around and refocuses.
There you go. See, now the other question I have about this whole Barcelona thing, I mean, I get what you just said there. He doesn't really want it. They don't want him. He feels that. So obviously he can't be bothered either. And there have been disciplinary issues as well. But if he's good enough for us, why would they want to get rid of him?
They need to. If Chelsea went in for a good offer for Frankie de Jong, they'd probably sell him too. I know it's difficult, and I think people in the comments as well, they'll be a bit I don't know, hit and miss with this from what you've seen. Because if you speak to a big Barcelona fan, they will tell you everything's fine and they can sign Haaland. But right now, like they do need to sell. They're still, I think, quite heavily over. Like they're close to over the salary cap, and if they go into next season, they'll most likely be over it too. So they do need to get rid of their players. There's a reason, like, and even the players that get spoken about less, it got spoken about less in the summer, like John Claire Todibo. Like these are players who are meant to be quite good, like Mariba, and they still had to let him go. So I think with Dembele, even Xavi came out and said, "I want to keep him," but they just can't afford to with the wages. If they want to bring in their own sort of players, they need to get rid of a high earner, and Dembele is one of them.
Fair enough. I mean, the weird thing is just signing Aubameyang. I doubt he's going to be on much less wages than Dembele. Do you know what I mean? Like he was on 350k at Arsenal, and now he's meant to be on less than 200. Like, is he really going to accept that? I don't know. I mean, clearly, otherwise, I don't really see the logic. But the last question, I asked that to you and Con. I mean, Con has kind of touched on it in a way already, but we're all aware we wanted or we needed to some extent a left-sided defender, right? Wing back, left back, whatever you want to call it. But other than that, from your perspective, Alex, did Chelsea need someone, or is it just a case of, well, get someone if you can, but you don't really have to, I suppose?
I like other than left wing back, I'm not too. In fact, I wouldn't be so sure. I think he mostly stacks in other positions. Do you know, it's awkward because I think someone asked me actually the other day, what would be, obviously I rate my transfers and I rate them quite harshly. They said, if you could give one transfer that'd be a 10 out of 10 to Chelsea, what would it be? I said Haaland, but you can't sign a striker now because you've got Lukaku. So you've got, even in the one zone you need a player, you've got a roadblock now. So it's hard to say, yeah, you need to sign a striker because realistically you just can't.
No, we really can't. And on the opposite of that now, Con, rather than asking Alex, who's obviously not necessarily a Chelsea fan, I'll ask you, as a Chelsea fan, other than a left wing back, was there a position where you're like, I really wish we could have got someone? Obviously, Dembele now, but was Dembele only a thing ever since the Dembele rumor started, or did any of us really say, I would love if we could sign a winger? The one thing I do find a bit strange, though, is that basically every Chelsea fan, other than some, incredibly nostalgic ones, are like, no, don't get Hazard back. He's too injury prone. But Dembele's fine. What?
To be honest, it'd been more of like a like than I think like a need. Like I think we're okay everywhere else, but we desperately need that left wing back, bro. Like I know we're just gonna be coming on here, bro. Every I don't know 3 or 4 days every week, and we're just gonna be Alonso was a 2 today. It was awful. And no, bro, I can't deal with this for another half. Like, bro, we still got a lot left, bro. Imagine we beat Lille and we get someone good in the Champions League, bro. Alonso left wing back, bro. It's over. It's gonna be one of the worst nights of our life. I can tell you right now, it's gonna be one of the worst nights of our life. We're gonna get cooked on that left hand side, bro. We're done. And the thing is, bro, if Alonso gets injured as well, imagine that if he gets injured, bro. We're going to be so screwed. What Maitland and Sarr, we're going to have to play a back four just to fit in Sarr. To accommodate Sarr, we're going to have to play a back four. How dumb does that sound? Like, we have to accommodate for a player who's not really deemed good enough to play left wing back. What are we doing as a club, man? Like, why is it so hard to get a left wing back? It's not that hard. There's so many good wing backs in Europe that wouldn't cost that much. I think people just think, like you said, like the Alphonso Davies, Hernandez, they're like the biggest names, bro. But there's so many good, like, if you just look at the wing backs in Europe or the full backs in Europe, there's so many good ones, bro. And Chelsea didn't even look. The only thing they saw was Emerson Palmieri at Lyon, and they thought that was an option, a guy who wasn't deemed good enough. Oh, but Tuchel wants him. Yeah, Tuchel wants a guy he started Alonso over. Tuchel wants a guy who played at left centre back and not left wing back. It's so dumb, man. I don't get this club. Like, bro, I would have been happy not getting like a forward, a midfielder. That's calm. I think we can survive to the end of the season. So that I think big change is needed there. But left wing back, there's no excuses, man. Not at all.
Fair dues. I mean, there you go. Brilliant. I'll get that up in a second then. Cheers, Alex. But Pies, I just ask you, obviously, we've discussed it plenty of times, but now because we're in the conversation, other than left wing back, was there a specific position where you're like, I wish we signed someone there? Or is it just like, an extra winger forward because we can't, our forwards aren't quite good at the moment? Say again?
Pre-agreements. We should have done a pre-agreement with at least one of Kounde or Tchouameni. Unacceptable that we didn't. It's going to be really hard for us now in the summer, especially with Tchouameni. Kounde, I think less so, but I think Kounde's I'm still confident on Kounde, but Tchouaméni, no. Real Madrid are going to be in. United are going to be in. Liverpool are going to be in. Every big team is going to be in. Trust me. I've said this before. I'm really not confident on Tchouaméni now. I know we've been talking to his agents, but who's to say that others haven't? His price has gone up as well. I'm not confident on Tchouaméni. I would have liked to see some movement on that this window. Just again, Chelsea not being proactive, not planning right, not just being the club that we should be. Unfortunately, just sat here and done nothing in January as per usual. So yeah, really disappointed with no pre-agreements.
I guess what you never really know is, I mean, you could say, oh, we would have known about it. But what we don't know for sure is that we tried to get pre-agreements and the clubs told us, well, go do one. We don't want to do a pre-agreement, Like, I think that's sometimes what people forget a little bit. Like, I get what both you, Con and Pies, I get what you're both saying. And the scouting certainly should be better in certain instances, 1,000,000%. I don't think that's much of a debate to be had. But what I will say is, like, Real Madrid wanted Hazard from us for years. We just said no. If clubs tell us no, then what are we going to do about it? Like, we can't exactly force them if they say.
But bro,
no,
just to make a point on what Pi said about pre-agreements, bro. If you look at the free agents in the summer, bro, there's some really good names on there, and we haven't even tried one of them. Like, that's what I'm saying. This club's so lazy, bro. They're lazy. Like, they don't. It just seems like we have one scout who looks at one player, bro. Like, what's the rest of the 6 doing? I think we have 7 scouts here. Like, what are the rest doing? Like, bro, there's so many players who are free at the end of the season. Some good ones as well. Like Kessie being in there is a great option, by the way. I think he's a fantastic player. Like, why are we not even attempting anything? And people say, oh, we do our business in silence. No, we don't do our business in silence. We don't do business. There's a difference. It's not we're doing it silently. We just don't do business. Like, we're just lazy, bro. Like Pi said, why didn't we try? Like, if we're so desperately wanting Kounde, right? And we know we're going to have a centre-back issue in the summer because at least 2 will probably be leaving. Why have we not done a pre-agreement for Kounde then? Why not? What's the harm in it? He wants to come to us. We're a big fan of him. Why not? The Tuchel one, bro, it's saying that Real Madrid are now interested in him. Like, we could have had him in the summer, but we thought, oh, we'll leave him another year. And now they're asking for a lot more money than they did in the summer. And other clubs like Real Madrid are sniffing around. And we can't compete with Real Madrid. We can't. People might think we're equal in ability of the football pitch right now, but they're Real Madrid. I don't get this club how we move. We don't move like a big club, bro. We honestly don't. Like, Newcastle this January has shown levels. Like, fair play to them. Some of the signings they got as well, like Bruno from Lyon. Jesus Christ, what a signing that is. It's a joke, man. It's a joke. I'm not asking for every club signing to be 100 million. No, I'm just asking for a good profile player in the position we need. Why is that so hard to ask for? Dumb club, man.
I get that. But other than maybe Bruno, would you have been happy with any of the players that Newcastle signed this window?
The point, bro. That's not the point of if we're happy with what they got. They looked at what they needed and they got some good position. Like, they got some good players for what they needed. Why can't we do that?
But they got good players on their level.
But bro, no, you tell me Bruno. You tell me Bruno's on Newcastle level. Not at all, bro.
No, but the level they kind of aspire to.
Bro, do you understand how good Bruno is? How do you pronounce his name? Guimaraes, bro. I think that's how you say it. Like, do you know how good he is?
Guimaraes.
Yeah, there we go. Do you know how, bro? He's a baller. He's better than Newcastle right now. He's better than Newcastle right now, 100%. And they landed someone like that. We're Chelsea Football Club. Why can't we just get a half decent left wing back? I'm not a scout. I shouldn't have to throw out names, why can't the scouts do the job? Why can't the scouts do the job? There's so many good fullbacks in Europe. Anyone who's listening tonight, just look at fullbacks in world football, right? And you'll see how many good ones there are. You tell me Chelsea can't take advantage of a pandemic market? Like, clubs would like to sell players, It's not a normal January market. Clubs are still dealing with the pandemic. We can't take advantage of anything, man. We're useless at times in transfer markets. It's horrible, honestly.
I mean, I get it. Like, I get the frustration. I don't even think you're wrong. I just don't think we don't know yet. Like, as in yet. We just don't know. Like, if Tuchel is I don't want any of these other players that the scouts tell him, then can we have a go at anybody then? Because none of us are going to have a go at Tuchel.
He's not going to accept Kennedy over a proposed signing. Let's just say that. It's not...
And one thing we know about Tuchel, bro,
won't, but obviously, if we make a signing, he will then be told, well, yeah, if we make that signing, we have so and so much less transfer budget here, and then we have another player whose wages we need to pay, and that's another player we need to at some point get rid of. Obviously, it's not just as simple as, I prefer
But Laurenz, one thing we've learned about
random name
Tuchel,
that
bro.
Alex told me in the summer. I prefer Angelino over Kennedy. Obviously.
By the way, I know a lot of tier 1 sources have said he didn't want Digne, but I still don't believe it. I still don't believe that. I just refuse to believe that.
That's the weird thing where our fandom or our fan self comes in, where we're like, on the one hand, we're like back Tuchel, but when Tuchel apparently makes a decision that we don't like, we're like, oh, we don't believe it. And I'm the same as you. I'm not.
It's not that I don't. I mean,
you're doing anything wrong.
It's a bit of that I don't like it, but it's just also made so much sense at the time. I
think the issue is like
I don't know whether or not we had the money available. I'm not sure, but I don't know. Like just seeing him for Villa as well, he's playing really well. It just pains me.
I was going to say, I think the issue is like for you, like why Barcelona got particularly angry is like I feel like there's a lack of. I think I like personally lean more towards side. I can understand it, but then again, I think there's a lack of excuses for Chelsea in a way because I said like I started. Oh, it's hard to do business in January, and then again, Newcastle and Aston Villa completely smashed it, and it's like these things do take time. But then Chelsea in the past have picked up players quite quickly as well. Like I remember Werner got picked up in about 2 days. That was sorted out quite quickly, and it's like oh, but maybe you need to balance the books. Like spent 100 million this summer, but then again, City crushed FFP, and like teams like Aston Villa and Everton have spent bags over the past 4 years with like no consequences. So it's like I feel like everything you can think of.
Europe, so they don't have to abide by FFP.
Fair, but I don't know. It's just like I feel like for a lot of things you can think of where okay, Chelsea didn't spend for this reason. There's some sort of counter, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean. I see what you're saying, but I also understand like the frustration. I'm not trying to say, I don't even disagree with what Conan and Pi said. Maybe I don't feel as frustrated by it, but that's more on a basis of, I don't know. I accepted we're not signing anybody a while ago, so I'm like not really that upset about it anymore. If I'm being
none of you guys will mind if you don't sign anyone now and you win the league next season because you went ham in the summer.
Yeah, but that's the problem, bro. I don't believe we will go ham in the summer. I know what this club's like. I believe if we don't sign anyone now, the summer ain't going to be much better. Like, if you look at our financials, Sportswire, you've had on here before, he did a great video about it. We're not in a great place financially. And we're really going to be on this buy to sell, like sell to buy, sorry, I say. So, I don't see us doing any mad business. And the fact that Tuchemani's stocks have risen so highly, like Declan Rice is valued at ridiculous money. We need that midfielder. Who's that going to be? Like, we didn't even try for Zakaria, by the way. Didn't even try that. I don't know why not. Like we knew he was going to be a free agent
I'm glad
at the start of this
we
season.
Honestly, he's terrible. I'm glad we
but bro, he's a good player. I like Zakaria, bro. It's not even the fact that if you want him or not. Nah. Why don't you at least try sniffing around? Like that's the problem. They don't even sniff around players.
Yeah, if you don't like Zakaria, like there's others like Kessie, Constantine, people call Kamara.
Yeah,
it's just lazy.
I don't mind Kessie, but not Zakaria.
It's just Chelsea ball. As soon as they had that one player in mind, that's it. That's it. We saw it in the summer with Haaland. We spent nearly all of our time on Haaland, and for what reason? We knew the outcome. From more or less the start, we knew we couldn't afford it, man. So then why persist? And then we go to get the Lukaku. It's so dumb, bro. Like how this board works, it's so frustrating. It's because like I would have been happy not getting 100 mil Lukaku if we just got a striker of some sort of profile. I even mentioned Danny Ings at one point. Like I generally even mentioned Danny Ings at one point, and I know people was like, "Oh, Danny Ings," but I generally wouldn't have minded
Danny Ings would probably have more than 5 Premier League goals right now.
Yeah, and if that meant we could get like a midfielder or another wing back, we saw what we wanted in the summer. Like we was linked with like a midfielder, a wing back, and a forward. Like it's clear Tuchel wanted more than one player. He got basically one player because I'm not even going to count as a player because like he's had like one performance this season. It's a joke. Like forget fees because fees nowadays in modern football mean crap. Let's be honest. If you look at it, just the numbers, we got one player in the summer for a guy who won us the Champions League. In January, 0 players. And in the summer, you think we're going to get 3 or 4 players. It's not going to happen, bro. Like I just know that's not going to happen.
But how many players did City sign last summer?
But City are City, bro. We're not City. We don't have the privilege of being the best team in England. We're playing catch-up, so we need to sign. Yeah. They're not playing catch-up, bro.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay, Becky, I've seen your message like 1,500 times. I will ask Con now. What do you think about João Felix as a number 9?
João Felix?
Yes.
He's an interesting player. Someone who I've watched from Benfica, South Atletico. I don't think Atletico is the right club for him. Would I be happy with Chelsea shelling out loads of money for him? Probably not. Because of Kai Havertz. Because of Lukaku. Like, realistically, if you want to João Felix, you probably have to say goodbye to Kai Havertz in my head, because I don't think them two could really coexist in the same team. But I like him as a player for sure. I like him. I would have thought he would have ended up at City. To be fair, I think he would have fitted them really nicely, but probably not Chelsea. So we got Kai and Lukaku.
I'll ask you as well, Alex, because Becky keeps. Every stream I do, there's a question about João Felix in the chat, and I keep saying I don't think João Felix will ever be a number 9 in the Premier League. It's not quite it, in my opinion. I mean, you might know better than I do, but for me, João Felix as a number 9 at Chelsea is like it's just never going to work, even if we got him.
Yeah, I'm kind of with it. He's not even a number 9 at Atletico. He plays on a front 2, and he kind of plays more like a left winger. He just doesn't.
And even though he isn't very good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I do rate João Felix. I was watching him at Benfica. So I was reviewing his season at Benfica where he blasts out, and you can see sort of why Atletico paid like 100 million for him, because he was ridiculous. But even then, he wasn't like a proper striker. But if you sign him, you just got the same problem at Chelsea where you just get these second strikers who all want the ball. I guess they all want to be the man creating. Like you just kind of exacerbate the problem. If I don't know, I guess talk about signings. So I don't know if you're going to change something you've already spoken about. Like, you guys got angry that you've not sold some players, because I look at the Chelsea team and I'm like, surely there's some players that could have been sold in this window. I mean, with all your wingers like Ziyech, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, feel like one of them could have maybe gone, and then definitely like you've got Barkley and players like that. I don't know. Have you been ordered? You haven't cut any Deadwood.
Welcome to Chelsea.
I mean, I will make some arguments for this. Like, right, Barkley, as much as I
no
love
one wants him.
Ruben, I get it, right? But all the other, maybe Ziyech as well. But imagine the fury in Chelsea fans if we sell Ziyech after they scream against Spurs. Do you know what I mean? But right, but the money that we want for the Pulisics, the Werners, the whatever, no one's going to give us that money in January. So, like, yes, we would like to get rid of some of them, but that's never going to happen in a January window. Like, you know how Chelsea work. You know how Marina works. She doesn't sell for a cut price. No chance. So there's no chance we were ever going to sell any of these in January. But the one that's the big one is, I guess, Barkley is the main one that we could have, I guess, tried to get rid of, because we want to get rid of Alonso and we want to get rid of, I don't know, the Emersons and God knows who else. But the most of the players that we want to really badly get rid of are either on loan or because of injuries. We need them really badly right now, so we can't sell them. So the only one is, I guess, Barkley. But
and I will say to Barkley, at first I was thinking no one wants him, but in a window where Aaron Ramsey moves, Barkley surely had a club he could go to.
Bro, I was thinking the same thing when I saw the Dele Alli and the Aaron Ramsey deals. I was like, how could we? Like, someone must be out there who took Barkley. Right?
Yeah,
I'm seeing Dele Alli getting brought here, and Newcastle trying to jump in last minute as well. Surely we can.
By the way, like
someone.
it's not even like Barkley hasn't done anything this season. Like, he's had a couple of decent moments.
yeah.
Like, even
I'm
for
surprised
Chelsea, like, I don't.
tried. Like, if they try for Lingard,
I don't understand.
And if they try for Dele Alli, why wouldn't they try for Barkley?
do you reckon Marina's got an arm around Barkley saying, "Don't worry, mate, let's have a fish in the sea. Your time."
You know why? It's because he's on such high wages. It's the same
No,
problem.
I tell you why. Because Ross Barkley's stuck in New
problem,
York with all the snowstorm and he can't even get back to England. So he couldn't even sign for anyone if he tried.
Yeah, but no, seriously, it's the same problem with all of these guys that are Deadwood. Like, they're on such high wages that, you know, Chelsea don't want to cover half of them all the time when they send them out on
Surely
loans.
Newcastle won't have problems.
It's like, yeah, but they clearly don't want him, so like they're out the running.
they
But
don't want him.
I'm just saying, like, any other clubs that would be interested in that have not just been taken over, like, they're not rich on money. Like, Barkley's probably on 100 plus grand a week, I'd imagine, probably something like that. Like,
I think it's
clubs don't want to do
grand,
that. So, yeah, clubs don't want to do that for a loan. Like, it's ridiculous. We've got no chance of selling him permanently because, you know, then you've got to negotiate with Marina over a price. Have fun with that, you know.
It's a tough one. I mean, Fantasy PGA Tour mentioned something there, and that's kind of the last thing I want to keep Alex on about, because otherwise we're just going to complain about Chelsea more after that. Frank wanted Barkley until Van der Beek was an option. So, big news. Obviously, you all know that. But as in big news, which we haven't discussed on the channel, Frank Lampard has joined Everton Football Club as their new manager. And they've signed Donny van der Beek and Dele Alli, which I find weird. Like, why both? Like, I know they don't play
That's
the
actually
exact same
happened then. They
position.
signed Dele.
He's apparently doing his medical right now.
Okay. Okay.
That's what Matt Lord tweeted a minute ago, so or 10 minutes ago, whatever it is. So I find it weird that they signed both. But anyway, Frank Lampard at Everton. I'll ask the non-Chelsea fan first. What do you think of that? I saw your tweet about you're like, either it's going to be great or they're going to get relegated.
Yeah.
But is that your genuine thoughts, or do you think it's going to go well for him? Or
Oh no, that's 100% thought. I think I'm 80% sure it's a right fit. Like it's a right stand. Everton are just about good enough to not go down, and there's no pressure on him. Unlike Chelsea, where it was like whenever he made a tactical mistake, like the world was screaming at him. It was like, you've made a big mistake in this game. Everton, like I imagine half your games won't even be on TV, so there's just going to be a lack of pressure. If Benitez can last this long, Lampard can last longer. Also, I think as well, I definitely don't rate Lampard too highly as a coach, but I'll give him the credit as well that every sort of thing that's come out about him has said that in the year he spent away from Chelsea, he's gone to watch teams like Atalanta and Leipzig and try to sort of educate himself. So I think he's going to come back to Everton as a much better coach than he was at Chelsea.
this is why we shouldn't have been the ones to take him as his second job after Derby, because obviously he wasn't going to be amazing after 1 year of management. Like, the shocker. But
Well,
I mean, he
okay.
did good for us in his first season, right? I'm not saying he's like good enough for us. I don't think he is. But do I think he's good enough for Everton? Yeah. You know, if Benitez 20 years past his prime is good enough for Everton, so is Frank Lampard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, why did we sign Lampard in 2019? Because a reminder, Granovskaia won, was it Chairman of the Year, Owner of the Year last year, which now looks very, very good. But yeah, I think it will go okay, but there is part of me that thinks, obviously, I went on this channel when Tuchel arrived, so I was living at the time when Lampard got sacked. This is where Euro Expert was born. And I remember the press conferences where he was going at Liam Twomey for basically no reason. I remember that sort of toxicity and thinking, if that returns to Everton, in that squad and that state, now with two attacking midfielders, which feels like the time when they signed Klaas and Sigurdsson and the other one, there's a 20% chance this could all go to poo. And if Newcastle and Burnley, with their new 6'6" striker, with their course, if they rebound in form, Everton could be in danger. But overall, I think it's a good move for all parties.
I think it could be as well. I mean, I say for all parties. I think it could end up badly for Frank Lampard in the end, you know, because every manager in the end ends up badly at Everton. I think it's going to go well for a while, but at some point it's going to end badly. So I'm not sure if it's going to go great for Lampard in that sense. But then again, wouldn't that happen at any club pretty much? I guess. I don't really know. It's certainly, you could say it was worth waiting and not taking the Norwich job because, you know, Everton's certainly a better job than Norwich, I would say. But Pice, let me go to you. Lampard and Everton, do you care? Do you think it's a good move?
Yeah, of course I care. Like, I hope he does well. I hope that it is the right fit. I mean, from the outside, it's still weird. Like, I keep looking at the pictures and I'm just like, it just looks weird to me. I can't get my head around it. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. But I think in terms of like, as you said, like Goodison, like I could see him getting, you know, the way his teams play really high intensity. I see that sort of fit in the Everton, especially when they're home. The Everton squad, you know, the fans will love Lampard's sort of attacking systems, or I don't know if you could call it really a system, but because it's kind of their lack thereof at Chelsea. But you know the way he plays. I don't know whether he'll play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, but I think the fans are going to like it. I think
if you sign Van de Beek and Dele Alli, probably 4-3-3, I would assume.
Yeah, I think he'll get his teams well drilled, you know, well up for the games. I think Everton fans are so excited for it because I think he's a young manager that actually cares and will want to prove people wrong, because there's still a lot of doubters of Lampard, and you know he's hungry, he's ambitious. They've already got 2 signings in, looks like. So, I mean, yeah, I want to say good move for him because on the outside it looks like that, but I don't know. Everton's history in the managerial job, it's very, very hard. Things can go wrong very quickly, and as we've seen at Chelsea, he couldn't really deal with that when things went wrong. However, there is a lot of less sort of big players at Everton, so I guess maybe that may make things easier to handle. So it'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see if he's, you know, learned new tactics or, you know, stuff like that as well, because I mean, he's had quite a long time out of the game, like 18 months or something like that. So yeah, he's had a lot of time to study and stuff. So yeah, I'm interested to watch them. I really am, and obviously, wish him well there. Yeah.
I agree. I will certainly be watching it and seeing how it goes. Going to UConn for Lampard, I agree with Pies. Like that's what I don't like and never liked about the idea when Lampard became a manager. I'm like, as soon as he gets into the Prem, I will want him to do well, but I will not like him being in charge of any other club that's not us, right? Because it's just weird. It's like when he moved to City, I'm like, I'm not a fan. Like I don't like it. Why has this happened? Why couldn't you go to Melbourne? Why did you have to go to Man City? Like, come on, I don't care. You shouldn't be playing for Man Bloody City. Do you know what I mean? It pissed me off in the first place. But I will add onto that, just to take the piss out of Spurs a little bit. So Dele Alli going to Everton is reportedly a free transfer, even though he's under contract, and only Everton have to pay £10 million once he plays 20 games for Everton. But because he is actually cup tied in the FA Cup this season, the maximum amount of games Dele Alli can play this season is 18 games. So in the summer transfer window, Everton can sell Dele Alli for money and Tottenham get nothing. This is the most Spursy thing I've ever heard in my life. You're giving them a player for free. Say, give us 10 million if he plays 20 games. But if they sell him before he plays 20 games, they just get F4. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
That sounds, if Daniel Levy had hair, he must have lost it today.
Like, how has this happened? Like, what on earth?
That's the most anti-Tottenham thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, it isn't, because he probably thinks he's super smart. But I mean, they probably have some sort of sell-on clause. Like if they sell him, they probably get a percentage, I presume, right? So it's probably not nothing, but they don't get their 10 million if they sell him before they get to be played 20 games, which to me is hilarious. But Lampard and Everton, fun for you, boring for you. What do you reckon?
I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but I don't particularly really care. I'm being honest. Alright, cool. This guy was a fantastic player for us. He's a club legend. I'll always hold him close to my heart for that. But I don't care if he's managing Everton. I hate Liverpool. I hate the area. I hate Merseyside. I don't like it. So why do I care if he's managing one of the clubs there? I don't. They're a Premier League team. I find it a bit weird when people say I want Everton to do well. I really couldn't care what Everton do. It'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see what he can do, because he didn't convince me in that second season when he was given the tools, And I don't know how he deals with pressure as a manager. I think that was one of his biggest downfalls. He just couldn't deal with the pressure at Chelsea, because in that first season, he did all right. With all convincing, he actually did all right. And some of the football he was playing at times was actually decent, But in that second season, when the pressure was on and he had the players, just went down the shitter, didn't it? So it'll be interesting. But emotional attachment, I love you, Frank, but I really couldn't care what you do at Everton. If you could beat, take points off City, Liverpool, and the other people around us, cool, thank you, appreciate it. But other than that, don't really care.
Do we know if he's got the same backroom staff?
He took Edwards with him, didn't he?
Yes. So I will tell you. So he did not take Jody Morris anymore. Make of that what you will. He wanted Anthony Barry from Chelsea, but even though they held talks, Anthony Barry decided to stay. But Joe Edwards, after 27 years at Chelsea, which was news to me that he was here for that long, has left Chelsea to join Lampard's backroom staff at Everton. But it has been said that Chelsea will not be replacing Joe Edwards. They're like, we have enough assistant managers anyway, which makes sense because Tuchel came with his own 2 assistants and we already had Anthony Barry and Joe Edwards. How many bloody assistants do you need? You know what I mean? It's fine. But I'm glad that Anthony Barry didn't go because we're pretty good at set pieces and we've been good at those since he turned up. So let's keep him, please. So I'm pretty glad about that.
Jody Morris couldn't go, right? Could he? Because isn't he full-time running that Twitter account now? Does it care for you?
Maybe. Alex, any last thoughts you would like to share about Chelsea's transfer dealings or transfer deadline day in general? Is there anything, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily have to be Chelsea. I'll ask you that. Add your other thoughts after that if you want to. But what's been the most exciting or most interesting January transfer this month?
Okay, so there's 2 answers to that. The best one is Bruno Guimaraes to Newcastle. How they've got that done, I don't know. If they get relegated still, 1, that's hilarious, and 2, every club in the Premier League should be snapping after him because, everyone's talking about him as if he could play anywhere on the pitch. I get that, but he's a ridiculously good player under pressure, great vision of passing. So it was Lyon's best midfielder, probably one of the best midfielders in France. so clearly Champions League level. Astounding Newcastle got him. The most fun, exciting transfer is Weghorst to Burnley. I don't know if you guys saw the announcement video. That was brilliant. But also,
the announcement video was sick. But I can't lie, I didn't know Weghorst's face well enough to recognize him in the video. So they could have used like some sort of text or something.
Yeah, that's true. He hasn't got a very recognizable face. Everything about that transfer screams Burnley. Not only that he's 6'6" and he's a full-on. He's like Chris Wood if like you met his alter ego or the bigger version of him. But also the fact that it came out that a lot of clubs were interested in him, but because he wasn't vaccinated, they couldn't go near him. And Burnley came in and said, "We don't mind that. We'll take you." It's just the most Burnley thing ever.
That is very Burnley.
Yeah, I would love nothing more now than Burnley to stay up. I'll say as well, the parting thought. You mentioned the Lampard thing. I didn't like him when he was toxic in the media. He just annoyed me. I remember getting very annoyed when he was talking to the journalists in a bad way. So I hope he does well. But I will laugh if after all that talk about Norwich job and he walked away because he didn't want to take it, if Everton go down at Norwich's expense and Dean Smith leads them to escape, that will be quite funny and I would laugh at that, but hopefully he does well.
That will be funny. I can't even lie. Even I would find that a little bit funny. A bit sad, but we know Lampard is a decent championship manager, so
Exactly.
Maybe it's all planned in the first place. But I will say, Burnley, I reckon Weghorst quite a bit better than Chris Wood personally, and they paid half the price. But then it could be Bundesliga tax. So, maybe he's not better than Chris Wood. Who knows? But Alex, appreciate you very much for popping in. Everybody check out his YouTube channel. Link is down in the description. Check out his TikTok. That's also linked down in the description. And always check out his Twitter if you fancy that as well. But Alex, cheers. And if something mad happens and Dembele signs at midnight, I will call you.
I'll be back on.
From your sleep.
I'll be back on. Don't you worry. Right, have a good stream, guys.
Take care, bro.
See you guys.
Anything else we would like to add on Frank Lampard going to Everton? Like, it's weird, isn't it? Like, I don't know. I know, like, I saw the pictures today, and he's like, "Oh," and all the Everton fans are like, "Oh, I'm here for it." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." I will.
Do you know? I was surprised, bro, with how much the Everton fans wanted him. Like, I was seeing like Everton fans saying, "Oh, we really want Lampard." Like, I don't know why, but like they really wanted Lamps. Like, I was just seeing all of them just begging for him. And who was the other guy who was linked like at the same time as Lampard? And who was the other guy?
Carrera person we've never heard of.
Yeah, like there was like they really didn't want him. They wanted Lampard, and I was like, fairs, if you want him, you want him. But when you have this like hexagon sort of formula in the middle, bro, and he's the two attacking eights, don't come crying.
And that was a hexagon with Kante. Now imagine that if you don't have Kante. Good luck with that, mate. But,
to be fair, Alan can kind of do that role. Like, that's what he kind of did at Napoli, But he's knocking on a bit now, Alan. He's not the young player he used to be.
To be honest, I couldn't even tell you how old he is, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But what I wanted to get up on screen earlier already, and Alex did actually send me something to highlight on screen, but then we weren't really on the topic anymore, so it didn't really make sense anymore. But we were talking about, how annoyed or not annoyed we were earlier. I asked the people, and it's how funny is that? 0 to 2 and 9 to 10 are the two highest ones. To me, that's very funny. And this is like nearly 1,800 votes, so it's not even like nothing. So I find this very interesting. Pys, when you look at that, are you like, this is why the Chelsea fan base is the most confusing fan base in the world? Or what's your reaction to when you see the results of that poll?
Yeah, very mixed. I mean, I was expecting something along the lines of this. Just to say, I did vote 9 to 10, of course, me personally. But no, I mean, yeah, it's a mixed fan base. I mean, maybe in like a couple of months, we may think back and think, oh, people have done all right. Or, it's either going to go one or two ways. We're going to think like that, or we're going to think, shit, like we should have actually done some business when we could. Because, certain situations, players, out of form, players playing terribly, defending horribly, whatever, injuries as well. Like, I'm still, like, I just feel like we've been so starved of Reece James that when he comes back, he's just going to play every single game and then probably get injured again. And that's my personal feeling of what's going to happen. And even if he plays Reece at the left sort of side of the fence, because there's been, rumours that I think the Athletic said Tuchel's thought about doing that quite a few occasions. That means probably Azpi's going to keep playing, and we all love Azpi, but Azpi is clearly past it, past his best. So especially at wing back. So yeah, I mean the results are not surprising. I mean, to be fair, I don't know how you can put 0-2. I mean, that's just real lack of ambition for me personally. I think you should still be sort of somewhat annoyed. Maybe 3-5 is more acceptable because well, if you think like Chelsea shouldn't have bought in players, then at least you agree with me and others on the pre-agreements point. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe news does come out that Chelsea have tried in, January to talk to Kounde or Tchouaméni in Sevilla and stuff. Like, fair enough if Sevilla, are sort of hesitant to sort of pre-agree anything because obviously, like they've kind of made it, release clause or nothing. I'm still not sure if they're in the same position, but Monchi is a very, very hard negotiator, so I can see some issues there. But Tchouaméni, I mean, for me personally, he's one that, we could have wrapped up or we should have had wrapped up by now, or at least be close to. I mean, analysing and running analysis on his background and stuff is normal checks. That was the last we heard on it. That's normal checks of what you should be doing. Or maybe Chelsea are actually learning from past mistakes because, clearly with people like Morata and stuff like that, clearly didn't check up on like his mentality and things like that. So because that just never really worked. So I don't know. Maybe they're running more background checks now on players and sort of I think it was the news was that they were seeing what his attitude was like, how he grew up, how his home life is and things like that, which is obviously good information to hear. But that's what any elite club should be doing. So yeah, I mean. Who really cares about that? Like, not me personally. I mean, we should have just done more negotiating this window. And I don't agree with people say, "Oh, well, you don't know." Well, like the journalist's job is to get stories and to get clicks, and especially the ones that are behind paywalls. So you're thinking of the Athletic, your Matt Laws. Sometimes even the Independent have a couple of writers that come out with sort of, behind the scenes stuff like. If there was negotiating going on, like serious negotiating with, even if Chelsea had tried, then I think we would have seen stories on it. Like I'm 100% sure on that because it benefits the journalists as much as it does Chelsea because then Chelsea, the fans will think, oh, that's, maybe we didn't get it done, but look, we've actually been active, we've actually been trying. But the fact that we haven't heard those stories and there hasn't been those in-depth articles of what's going on, just makes me worried that we've just been sitting there the whole time and doing nothing. And that was my main gripe last summer was that, like, what was we doing all that time? Because everyone thought it was all about Haaland. And yes, I think multiple sources confirmed we tried, but like we spent so long on it, like so long, like literally ridiculous lengths of time of that summer, and then completed Lukaku really quickly. So I don't really know if Marina's this negotiator that everyone says she is because, for me personally, if I look at like some of the best deals that have been done from like someone upstairs, it's been the guy that left Liverpool. I think his name, I don't know, I can't remember what his name was, but he left Liverpool. He was like their sporting director. And every time Liverpool actually went in for a transfer, he was like so good on it, like ridiculously sharp and active and got things done. And
when did he leave Liverpool?
He left a few months ago. I can't remember his name, but Liverpool fans.
But then he didn't get Werner.
No, but like some of the other signings, like especially like Mane, Salah, and players like that, and just in general, like I've talked to a few Liverpool fans, like they absolutely loved him because of the way he negotiated deals. So yeah, I mean he may still have an influence on proceedings now, even though he's left. Like that could still be a case. But whoever's took over Liverpool has clearly followed up from the same boat because they're planning early and signed Diaz. So, like I don't know. I mean, I know that obviously our financial situation isn't great because, as I've said, like we're kind of sell to buy now. Roman's not pumping in as much money as he used to. Like even the other day, I was reading an article. I was searching back on Matt Law's tweets, and one of them popped up on my timeline. And it said Abramovich was ready to personally bankroll major signings if form didn't improve. Like that would never happen nowadays. I'm sorry, I love Roman, but it just wouldn't happen. He's not the same anymore. Yes, we do spend a lot of money, but it's not like personally invested. People need to understand this. It's not the same. We're differently run now. So yeah, it's a struggle for me to get
like,
off the windows.
I will say this about the whole Roman and money debate, and people were like, "Oh, we have this much of a, lost like 150 whatever million it was in the past year." Now, I will say to this, yes, that's what we, or the last few years, that's what we've been doing, in terms of that we're trying to be self-run. But Roman Abramovich is not gonna if Marina goes like, Roman, we can't, like, we kind of need a few players, but we can't really afford them because like Corona and that, and like everything's kind of been a bit screwed. He's not going to be like, well, that's your own problem. Like, Roman is clearly still heavily involved enough, at least according to when Bruce Buck a few months ago said they still talk to him like nearly on a daily basis. Still clearly involved enough that if we came into a dire situation where, okay, we need players and we don't have the money, then I do still, personally, fair enough, Pies, if you don't, but then I still believe that he will inject money, but at the moment we just don't need it. You could argue maybe we did need it, otherwise we would have signed someone. But
we do need money right now, bro. We do need money. We need money to cover the
loss.
What,
and according to who, and judging by what?
The 150 million loss. You'll see us sell academy players.
Other than the Corona year, other than the first pandemic year, we write a loss every year.
No, we don't. We make profits most years, bro. No, we don't. We actually make profits a lot of the years. I think this was one of the first years that we actually negated a loss. I'm pretty sure.
The only year we wrote a profit was the year we had a transfer ban. That was the first year since Roman Abramovich took over that we wrote a profit. I read that at the time. That was the first year since Abramovich was at Chelsea, we wrote a profit.
Well, let's just say this. The last injection that was reported, I believe Roman put in £19 million. I believe that was the last injection. And like that, in terms of the person that he is, the billionaire that he is like, like he wipes his ass with that sort of money. You know what I mean? Like he's not injecting 100 million or something into the club. Like it's, this is why I don't have hope for the summer, because one, we take fucking long on deals. Two, we're probably going to sell players that we don't want to fund other moves, like Broja, like Gallagher, like, I don't even know, maybe Jorginho. Fans are not going to be happy if he goes. And I know some people will say, oh, it makes sense. Fans still won't be happy that he goes. He's a fan favourite now. So this club's unpredictable. By the way, the Barca president just said that we've presented Dembele with one last option. A departure looks unlikely, but there is one last option before the window goes, and they've presented it to him. Apparently he rejected Spurs, so I don't know if that's us or not, but yeah, there's one last option. Apparently.
I feel like it's probably more like Newcastle or something, and he probably won't do it.
Most likely. We're probably penny pinching and waiting for the summer,
Yeah, potentially. At the same time, it's like maybe we just don't want him right now. I don't know. But there's this person called Loic Tanzi. Don't know who he is. He works for RMC in France. He's saying Dembele will stay at Barcelona until the end of the season. So let's see how things go. Just to go back to what we highlighted on screen and to go back to Con after that as well. Obviously it's my own poll, so I can't vote for it, but I would have probably gone 3 to 5. But like I said earlier, like I tweeted a couple of days ago as well, mostly because I have just accepted that we're not buying anybody. Obviously, if I had hope and then we didn't buy anybody, I would probably have gone, well, maybe 9, 10, but at least the next one up. So, but I do see what you meant with that earlier, Pies, in terms of at least saw something for the summer. I agree in a way. Obviously, like you said, it could come out that we tried to do this, tried to do that. Who knows? As opposed to Chouameni one is a weird one because, like, obviously Con wasn't here, but when we spoke to Nathan the other day, telling us that was basically Tuchel's decision not to go for Chouameni last year. So how much of that blame goes to the board, I don't know really. And also, Bry guy in the chat said a minute ago that apparently West Ham had an offer for Phillips from, what's his first name? Kevin Phillips. From Leeds, rejected, which could show that Rice is moving on. Who knows?
No, I think I was actually to partner him. I'm pretty sure one of their top sources said that. They also bid 50 mil for Nunes because they got Phillips rejected and then they went to Nunes, the striker. And don't get me into Rice is leaving. It's nothing to do with Rice, unfortunately.
What's got Phillips and Nunes the striker to do with each other?
I know, but they still bid 50 million for Phillips, and then they went to a striker. So
Lawrence, keep in mind, bro, they do have that new ownership. They have that new ownership, bro. I think one of their majority shareholders is quite a rich billionaire, so they're quite a wealthy club now, bro.
Yeah. It is true, but they do still have Souček as well. So that's why I'm like,
people think Rice is coming to Chelsea, kills me.
And one of their owners, mind you, is Czech. So personally, I have to disagree with you, guys. I don't think they were trying to sign Phillips, play next to Rice, because their Czech owner would probably not be happy if their Czech player Souček would all of a sudden be benched, especially when Souček is probably after Rice, their best player. So I'm not sure, but obviously Braga just put it in the chat. Who knows what it means? Connor, I'll ask you. Obviously, you retweeted the thing, but did you vote? And if you voted, what did you vote for on this scale?
Yeah, I voted, bro, but I didn't read it properly, all right? I thought it was like...
Okay, you don't have to tell me what you actually voted. You can tell me what your thoughts are now if you don't want to...
Yeah. No, I voted for 0 to 2, right? But I was meant to vote 9 to 10, all right? I just say that now, right? I made a mistake. It all happens, all right? So I'm sorry for that. But no, the thing is, Laurenz, I get your point where you say why yours is quite low is because your expectation weren't there. Like, you just accepted it, innit? And I think that's a lot of people accepted it. So, the 0 to 2s... I don't think it's like they're happy with this window. It's that they just accepted nothing's going to happen, you know. And a lot of us are starting. I'm starting to get to that phase, but I'm just accepting it now. I'm still annoyed, but that anger's slowly going down because I'm accepting. I'm just accepting mediocrity. There we go. I did it. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah,
it's just, bro. It's that left wing back position, because the thing is, all of us will be like, okay, we got Sarah and all that. But when we start watching Chelsea again and we start watching Alonso again, we're going to get annoyed, like we do every time we see Alonso play. It's a big problem for us. And I can't believe if we went for players, Laurenz, bro, if we generally went for left wing back targets and we got outpriced or whatever, then I'd be less annoyed. But it's the fact we spent all window after Emerson what really did my head in. And we brought back Kennedy as an insurance policy, and now that's an option for us. Fantastic. Kennedy, this guy, man. I can't believe it. And we haven't sold any Deadwood either. I think that comes into part. I think you mentioned that earlier. We didn't get rid of any Deadwood at all. So in the summer, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be looking to still try to offload said Deadwood. We're going to be looking to buy players Tuchel wants. And we're probably going to be trying to sell a Timo Werner or a Christian Pulisic or a Hakim Ziyech at the same time. And I just don't think the summer's going to be very good because of this January. We haven't set ourselves up well enough. And the pre-agreements, that's why I agreed with Pies there. It would have been just made our summer a lot easier because we've got a lot to do. It's not an easy job to do in the summer. It's not simple. It's not like, we just need the one player. It's not. It's more than that, you know. So we haven't set ourselves up for a good summer. And, bro, I'm tired. I'm just tired, man.
Sorry, I need to react quickly to this comment by Jester. Where have you got this stat from? Because to my knowledge, that's not true.
As
far as I'm aware, both Man United and Man City have higher payrolls than we do. But obviously, wherever I have my stats from could be wrong. But mind you, they have Ronaldo. You know, and they were already like the highest before. They had Ronaldo and Varane and somebody else, and we added
Sancho.
only Lukaku. Exactly. So likelihood of our payroll being higher than theirs, personally, I think quite slim. I guess, you know, they're still paying Mason Greenwood, brilliant Man United. But, you know, that's a whole different discussion. One thing I wanted to add, and I saw it in the chat, but I can't remember where it was, but it's also because it's January. Like, yes, I would have liked the left wing back just, you know, to fill that position with Chilwell out, right? But I never expect to sign anybody in January. January is January. January, two things happen. You sign cheap players or you way overspend on players. That's what happens to everybody in January. Yes, there's a few small exceptions, but there's so few exceptions in the whole grand scheme of things of the football market. I don't think you can go into expecting that, personally. So that's part of why I'm like, meh.
I get that, bro. But if you're a club the size of Chelsea, and it's not like the left wing back is just like, it's just a bit of an issue. It's a major issue, you know. And you expect a big club to.
It is, I agree. But one last thing I want to say is, do I think with Alonso and Sarr, one sec, please, I will just say this. Do I think with Alonso and Sarr we can get top four? Yes. Do I think any left wing back that we would have realistically got in January would have still helped us catch City? No. Do I think any left wing back we could have gotten in January would have realistically been good enough for us to go for the Champions League again? Personally, no. And then
Well,
once
you
you're
don't
at that
know
point,
that,
you
bro.
make
You
top
don't
four
know
anyway. No, of course I don't know that, obviously, but I don't. But that's the same logic with anything you do. You never know for sure.
I know, but that
Because
shouldn't
you
be.
could
That
also
shouldn't.
sign someone, and it could be another shit player. Like you
No,
don't know.
I get what
No,
Lawrence
but
is saying there. Look,
no,
but I get
that-
what he's saying is like
I'm sorry,
realistically, if we bring in that left wing back, bro, like what's our
I'm sorry,
expectations for this season?
That's not an
It's
excuse.
not really
I'm
going to
sorry,
change
bro.
that much.
No, but it is an excuse.
I get the
Paz,
point.
because
No, it's not. It's not.
no, of course it is, because
It's
we,
not.
at the
If
same
you
time,
find-
you
if you find a
are one
player
of the
like
people that complains about having Deadwood players.
No, so don't sign a Deadwood player then. Fucking scout
But
someone
it's not that
properly.
easy. Like it's
like
not
Liverpool.
FIFA where you just
No, it is.
know
It
every
is.
time
We are
someone
Chelsea,
gets right,
bro.
because
We
even
are
the
Chelsea.
best scouts get it wrong sometimes. For every club signs players.
We
to
don't
better
have the best
academy.
scouts. That's the problem.
Obviously, we don't.
That's the
But you could
problem.
say Man City do. How's Benjamin Mendy gone for them?
Well, he's fucking before he was an idiot, and he was pretty shit for a little while, but he was good at the start. Like he was
He
good
was
at the
good for like
start.
2 months. Then he was injured. Then he was going to Singapore without having Pep's permission. Then he was doing all sorts of things. Like you don't just sign random players. I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing with you in the sense that yes, if we scouted the right player, I would have wanted us to sign them. But I don't think we can just sit here and say they exist and we should have just got them.
That
Maybe the decision
Tsimikas was a random player from Olympiacos, by the way. And if Liverpool get into the Champions League semi or final, I think he's 100% good enough to start for them. That's just one example. Like Olympiacos, are you taking the piss? Like there's
yeah, but
players
how
out
long
there. If you
did they
scout
wait
properly.
after signing him to play him?
No, but that's because they had Robertson, bro. Like
No, but they didn't even use him as a backup. They played Milner as backup for the first 6 months of him being there.
But now they are using him, and they realise how good he is, and then this problem's sorted. Like as long as you have the player in your squad, you know what I mean. Like Tuchel's
would you be happy if we signed someone now and he wouldn't play for the rest of the season?
Tuchel wouldn't do that, would he? Because it's not how you do things. He's
But
not
then
going to play
you
it.
compare it though, because
No,
it's
but
not the same.
No, but you're not. Say I don't know who the fuck. Who can I even say? I'm trying to think. Just of a. I don't know. I don't know. Trying to think of a left back or someone that was realistic. That's also good.
That's the problem, bro. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm not a scout. That's the thing. That's why, like, I hate going on like, not live stream and stuff. But I hate like posting tweets on Twitter and things like that about who we should sign, because I'm not the fucking scout. So all I know is there's players out there that are available, that are very good, that are hidden gems, if you would call, that could come into a big club and perform. And there is players out there. But it's not up to fans to find those players, unless you want to sit down and have time, or be like Alex, you're an expert who loves doing that sort of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't had time personally to sit down and go through loads of left wing backs and read scouting reports this window, but in the summer I will be, because if we do the same thing and we buy, if we don't buy Tchouameni or Rice or someone like that, and we go for some dead DM or just don't buy one at all, and there's other actual good options out there, then of course that'll be annoying as well. That's another thing I'm fearful of in midfield. Same with Kounde as well. Like Kounde's amazing, but apart from that, De Ligt's not really realistic. Sula, okay, he's a left-sided centre back. That may happen anyway, but apart from that,
He's
who
another
you
one,
get?
by the way. He had an ACL injury, so like,
yeah,
who knows?
But to be fair, like I don't think Chelsea would have gone for him, but his form this season has been like really, really good according to Bayern fans. So I kind of see the sense in that, but yeah, like I don't think it's Someone's in the chat there said Gosens, like. You know what I mean? Like he went on a loan
fit right now.
When's he back then? Is he long term?
I think in February. He comes back in February, which I guess is soon. But doesn't he come back from an ACL injury right now? I think so.
I don't think they would have signed him if he had an ACL, but I could be wrong.
I don't. Well, it was just I saw a few people always say that's just came with an ACL. But are you sure about that, Jester? Because he played in the Euros. Would he be back yet?
Someone just said it's not that simple, Mum, to identify that person, sort of deal with the club and get contracts ready. Like, I just hate this. You have people are saying, like, acting like a month is a small amount of time. Like, it's just, some of the clubs do deals so quickly, and then there's us, and it's just, I just prefer not to speak. Just gets me depressed thinking about it, honestly. It's pissed off.
It was a thigh injury, Laurenz.
A thigh injury. So, Jester,
Yeah.
what you waffling? But still, he's coming back from an injury. Like, you're not going to sign because, like, when you sign someone, you need to do a medical. Like, Inter, yeah, sure. But they're just signing him as a backup, not because they need him to start. We would sign someone to start, right? So that'd be pointless.
I think. Sorry, bro. Like
do. No,
Angelino,
please do.
I think Angelino would have been perfect for us. Like I've liked him for a long time, and then when I watched that episode with Euro Expert and you, and he was talking about fullbacks, and he said like that was his main one. I was like, this guy knows ball. I don't see 30 million for him would have been fucking perfect, man. Because we need to get out of our heads that we're signing someone just to play the part till Chilwell comes back. Chilwell might not be the same player he once was. ACLs do that to players, and as Chelsea fans, we know that they're better than anyone. We know that better than anyone. We've seen it with Loftus-Cheek, Laurenz, one of your favourite players. We've seen it with Hudson-Odoi, one of Pius' favourite players, you know? We've seen what ACLs does to players.
That does with Achilles, bro.
Oh, fairs. No, but we've seen with like ACLs.
Big injuries, though, yeah. And
Achilles injury is
right.
still one.
Yeah,
after ACL, knee and Achilles are definitely the worst injuries you can get, especially for forwards. The Achilles
I think you could argue that Achilles is actually worse than an ACL.
Yeah, they're definitely
I don't know about that personally, but I don't know. We needed to sign someone who's ready for the job and who could be good enough. And there's players like an Angelino, you could get him. If you're Chelsea Football Club, you can get him. No excuse.
But I don't know. Like I know, obviously, Alex said it at the time.
They don't even know who he is. Chelsea.
I don't know if
they
we
don't
could
know
have.
Who he is.
Who they don't know? You mean the board?
Yeah, they don't know who Angelino is. They've never said that. I think, who's that?
He's like a left wing back. This guy would have cooked, man. He was. And that's why, like, at this point,
I agree with that. And I don't know why we didn't attempt that. But if Tuchel wanted Emerson, then who am I to say you're wrong?
But that's the thing, bro. Like, Tuchel, what we learned from Tuchel being here, he doesn't ask for names, bro. He asks for profiles, doesn't he? He doesn't say, he didn't say, I wanted Lukaku. He said, I wanted to play for reference striker. I wanted a midfielder who could hold, etc., etc. Like, he doesn't ask for names. And it's like, I'm at a point now, Laurenz, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I'm just accepting that. If we get top four, we get top four. I know we're not going to go for leagues. And until I see something different at Chelsea Football Club, that's my expectations every season now. Because I can't be asked for it.
Bro.
Yeah, because I say the same things every year. Like, I can't be bothered to say it anymore, man. Honestly.
Fair. Let me quickly react to the super chat from earlier. By indefinite, cheers for the donation. Appreciate it. Saying, sell Hudson-Odoi, Alonso, Jorginho, Barkley, Werner, and Pulisic. Then we can fund getting Coman, Tchouameni, and the left wing back. Now, Coman just recently signed a new contract at Bayern Munich, so chances of signing him very minor, in my opinion. But yeah, sure. I suppose. I mean, I don't want to sell Callum Hudson-Odoi. I don't want to sell Pulisic. I don't want to sell Jorginho. But the other ones, sure. Yeah, go for it. Why not? I mean,
but no disrespect to that guy, though. Like, if you look at how many names are there, that's so unrealistic to do in one window, man. Like, you're not selling all those players and then replace them all in one window. It's not even the best clubs, like teams that do with transfers better than we do, are doing that, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
the guy who flopped at City, it's a bit harsh to say you flopped. I don't think he was given much opportunity.
Was sold to Leipzig. Leipzig are like one of the best German teams. And Angelino was actually very good in the Champions League as well.
Them, so you know.
No, but Angelino was good in the Champions League as well. So
yes, no, he was.
And he's the type of profile we need. Someone that's very, very good going forward and is also aggressive defensively as well. You know, so.
Can you get anything for a backup? See, that's what I'm saying. People need to stop saying backup, man, because Chilwell might not be as good when he comes back. Just stop saying backup. You got to stop saying that. Like, Chilwell's not going to come back and just hit it running. He's not. I'm sorry. If you're thinking that, you're deluded. Like, I love Ben Chilwell, and he proved me wrong. He made me eat his words because I thought for the money, I didn't think it was worth it. But he came and he fucking flew at Chelsea. But we got to accept the fact that we need someone who's just as good as he was. And when he comes back, it's up to Chilwell to get back to that level again and take that spot back. Like, football doesn't stand still for anyone, even our favourites, you know? Like someone like Ben Chilwell, it doesn't stand still. You have to keep moving forward. And if we just get a player to sign as backup, we're going to be this time next year, or in 2 years' time, we're going to be like, oh, so this guy stinks, and like we're trying to offload him, we can't. It's the same cycle, you know? You got to stop signing Deadwood players at this club. That's a problem. Us fans need to stop doing that as well.
Well, the problem is too many fans are scared of what could happen with potential signings, so they often just roll it out in their heads or find excuses as to why, you know, not doing any business is acceptable. That's my problem. So that's just all I'll say on it. It's like too many fans, man.
And Pies, I agree with that actually, but the problem is we thought that many times. And the problem is Chelsea have been stung both ways with this. Like, you can say, like, yes, we didn't sign players sometimes when we should have done, but also sometimes we sign players that we really shouldn't have signed, and they are currently problems. Like, I totally understand your argument, Pies, with the whole scout.
I kind of agree on that,
but we're not going to change the scouts from one day to another. They haven't changed. So if you say the scouts aren't good enough, then whoever they would have scouted, there is a chance they wouldn't be good enough either, right? So because we didn't change the scouts, why would you expect a different result? So then, rather than signing random players that these scouts have come up with, I might rather have no one than another Bakayoko and another Emerson and another Alonso and another, I mean, you mentioned that Morata.
I mean, even with
10 times as good as Timo Werner.
Bro, even Bakayoko, do people not remember how gassed was when we signed Bakayoko? Like,
exactly, and
he was amazing. He was amazing in the Champions League. He just never adjusted to the intensity, and also we shoved Bakayoko straight in. We never pre-planned for guys either. That's another big problem with this club. We never allow players to settle in. We always just chuck them in the deep end. It's so frustrating. Like, I'm so jealous of what Liverpool are doing now with Diaz, and they did the same with Jota. Like, they buy players that don't necessarily start straight away, but are still really good players. And they have, like, he's like ready to take over Mane. Like, he can start for them now, but he won't, because Liverpool they're going to slowly ease him in. Like Man City are doing with Grealish, by the way. Everyone's calling Grealish a flop. No, he'll bang. He will absolutely bang at Man City. He's having that adjustment time. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to bang right now. You know what I mean? He's got time to settle in and find his feet. And even now, he's still playing okay. Not 100 million levels, but, we just don't, like, bring players in like an Angelino or someone like that can sort of just, settle in, or, just...
But that's, by the way,
I mean, like, we don't have options, bro.
Wanted Emerson for
we
that
don't
very
have
reason.
options. Yeah, but Emerson's not, like, Emerson's average, you know what I mean? Like, he's not...
Sure, but any player we would have signed that doesn't know our system we would need them to play straight away, so we couldn't give them exactly what you just said again. That's the problem.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I think you could... We're not talking about, like, shoving them straight in. Like, I think you could still play Alonso and Sarr for a few games, but...
What's the point then?
Well, because we've still got half the season left, so, there's still loads of competitions. We can play them in the Champions League instead of having these two that are getting absolutely destroyed, you know what I mean? We can still play them in the league, but you can just mix and match. But we don't have options to mix and match now. That's the problem. We don't. With Tuchel's just limited.
Bro, we can mix Malang Sarr and Alonso. Brilliant. Great banner.
So can I just make a quick point? Sorry, no,
but before that, no more disrespect for Malang Sarr, right? He's played 3 times against Tottenham, won every time. All right, who can say that about themselves? Not even Antonio Conte can do that. So, do you know what I mean? Bit respect.
Big up, Malang Sarr. I feel like at Chelsea we're just used to having that one really good player in that position, and that's enough for us, because it's been enough for us at times. Like, we've seen Leagues One where you see players like Azpilicueta, John Terry play every single minute of football, right? But let's be honest, like, in today's age, like, there's very few players who won't pick up an injury during the season. And if you ask Man City, Cancelo's out today, you're gonna play Alonso or something like wing back, they'll laugh at you. Like, they don't have them options there. Like, even Zinchenko, who I don't rate, he's still good enough to do a job there.
By the way, I will just say the whole Zinchenko, right? Zinchenko is a number 10, and Pep just made him a left wing back, whatever, right? So, like, that's just like when Mendy was all of a sudden injured for months and months and months on end, they didn't give him a new left back. He just made Zinchenko one, and then he made Cancelo one. They didn't ever give him a new left back. They never did.
To be fair, though, Cancelo did play left back for Juve, bro. So it's not like it was totally a strange playing that position, But I feel like this Ben Chilwell thing. Like, I saw someone say, "Oh,
don't you mean Danilo?"
No. Cancelo did play left back at Juve. No, he didn't play all the time. I'm saying at times he played at left back.
No, I get you. But wait, did this even sign Cancelo from Juve?
Yeah, Cancelo came from Juve, bro. They swapped Danilo and Cancelo. Remember?
And then they gave them Danilo back.
No,
because
so
they signed Danilo from Juve, right? Then they had Danilo, he never played, and then they gave him back.
No, they signed Danilo from Real Madrid.
What?
So Man City signed Danilo for Real Madrid, and then they swapped him with Cancelo from Juve.
You sure? I swear Danilo was at Juve before.
No. I think it was Real Madrid or a Spanish club. Pretty sure it was.
I think he had a stint. I think he had a stint at Juventus, didn't he? I'm pretty sure.
I think he did. I mean, he's definitely at Juve now, obviously.
You're talking about the Brazilian guy, right? Whether or not he plays there now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, Con's right. They're signing from Madrid. The more you know.
Hey, see, this guy, bro, he's the Morata of fullbacks, bro. He's not good, but he plays for every top club, I swear.
Well, he plays at Juventus now, right? Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, he plays for Juve now. But that's what I'm saying. Like, someone said, like, our Ben Chilwell's 23. Like, he'll be back playing in October. Like, that's so naive to think like that. It's unfair to Chilwell, because if that's the expectation you give for him, you're probably going to be disappointed. You might be right, but there's a strong possibility you'll be disappointed, man. And Ben Chilwell isn't a player like at Pulisic at times, not like lately, but Pulisic. Do you remember when he used to come back from injury under Frank and he used to just smack it off the bat? Like, Chilwell isn't like that. Like, how many times has Chilwell, he got dropped at Leicester because he's struggling mentally. He was dropped at the start of the season because he was struggling mentally as well. Like, it's not just a physical thing with Chilwell, it's a mental thing as well. I think the competition for him is good. It'll get him excited to want to play again, you know? And that's why Alonso was playing decent at the start of the season. I know he had some stinkers, but he's playing decent. Having competition is good. It's naive to think that, Ben Chilwell, because he's young, he's had his injury, he'll be back and he'll be fine by October. It's so naive to think like that. Honestly, it really is.
Like, I get it, but at the same time, none of us are doctors, right? So, like, because I do think, you know that Premier League doctor guy that always tweets about the injuries?
Yeah.
You sort of collab with him, because I want to know from someone that actually knows what they're talking about is whether it makes a difference, because Ben Chilwell didn't completely rupture his ACL. He only partially did, right? And I don't know if that has an effect on the recovery. I would strongly presume it does, though. And that, in my opinion, makes it a lot more likely that he comes back just fine. And that's why, Con is right. You can't just expect him to be back August, September, October. No, you can't put any time frame on when you expect him to be good and whatever else. Like, you can't.
Do you want me to message him, Laurenz, and see if I can get a response, or would you like me to message him?
I'll message him. The thing with ACLs as well, that people don't realize, it's like injuries like that. It's where Chilwell plays. It's so demanding, right? He's always running up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a thing with ACLs that you start getting other injuries after that. It might not necessarily be the ACL, but other injuries normally happen after you get an ACL, and you're putting too much pressure on yourself, you know? You're doing too much. You got to be really careful with this, because if we rush him back and we just throw him in the deep end as soon as he's ready again, we could potentially ruin the young guy's career. And we don't want to do that. So you got to be careful. We're not Barcelona and Real Madrid. We give players the proper time they need to get back, and we ease them in, you know? So that's why we need someone who can compete with Chilwell. So we can ease Chilwell in, and we still have a good player for that area of the pitch, you know. And then when Chilwell's back, you got two great players in that position, you know.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The one thing I will say to what you just said about the mental issues that he's had, he kind of had those because he didn't play at the Euros, right? So, and why did it happen? Because of competition. I'm not sure if competition is what Ben Chilwell needs. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get that. But
I because I think for him it's probably easier to like be injured. But again, obviously pure speculation. It's probably easier to be injured. Okay, I'm not playing. That's why. Rather than like I'm fully fit. I just won the Champions League, and this idiot of a manager, called Gareth Southgate, is playing Luke Shaw who's shit over me. Even though Luke Shaw was actually good for England at the Euros. Let's not like lie to ourselves. I feel like that's much more of an issue for him than coming back. Like I feel like recovering from an injury, he'll be okay. But then again, I don't know. But I do think that you're both.
I'm just sort of kind of speaking experience here, because I remember doing I think it's like a grade 1 injury to my hamstring, right, when I was playing football, and I wasn't like rushed back, but I wasn't exactly fully. It wasn't fully healed, and it always reoccurred, you know. Still to this day, if I play football to this day, it's still hella tight when I'm playing football. Like people think, I don't know, if play football yourself and play very, very do something with your body that's very demanding consistently, right, and get a few injuries, and then you'll understand a bit more. You understand a bit more that you can't just be thrown back in the deep end. You can't. Anybody who thinks you can just come off an ACL and play as soon as you're ready, you're an idiot, man. You clearly haven't had an injury to yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Because you're just going to ask for more trouble. You need to be bled back in properly, you know? It's like N'Golo Kante, bro. Look how we misused him over the years. And we're paying for it now. He plays 50% of the games. Imagine if we just nursed him properly, bro. We didn't rush him back in. We could have a different player today. He might be fit for more games. But I don't want to make the same mistake with Chilwell like we did with N'Golo, you know.
That is true. I do agree with that, but I do still think like we can't just sit there and take it for an absolute fact that he'll be here by October or November or December. Like we just don't know for sure. Like there is the possibility he returns to training in August. He starts playing in September, not at his best, but then you need to give him time to come back, right? But there is also a situation where he could be back in training in July and already be pretty much or very close to what he can do by September, October. Like we just don't know. Like I'm not saying you're wrong, Con. I'm not saying anybody. I just don't think anybody knows.
Yeah. Just spot on, bro. This is just like opinions.
So it could go badly, like you just said there, but it could theoretically also go better. But what Con is definitely right with is that you can't bank on it going well, and that's not good to bank on it. And that I completely agree with.
So just to finish this point off, bro, it's just I'm worried because we just seen it with like players like N'Golo in particular. We don't have to take that risk with Chilwell. That's what I'm saying. Like we can easily just get someone who's on a similar level to him, and we can just have great, healthy competition there. We don't have to take the risk of him having to bank off the bat, or you know what I mean. Like we don't have to take that risk. Like with Chelsea Football Club, we don't need to. But knowing this club, we might do, and I just don't want him suffering injury after injury. I'm being extremely pessimistic here. I get that, but I really do like Chilwell, and I want him to be bled back into the team properly and not rushed.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would probably agree. I do think you're both slightly reactionary and negative today. And nothing wrong with that. I just think there are like all of your, how do I call them, like ways of thinking are possibilities that could come true exactly like that. But there is like, yeah, you can say, oh, you know, I can only imagine Chelsea not doing anything proper in the summer either. But that is just you thinking. You don't know, because I personally think I get what Pice is saying. We had to do.
We won the Champions League and made 2 signings.
No. But for me, it's nothing to do with whether we won the Champions League or not. But as in, I don't know whether Chelsea are going to spend big in the summer or not. Because when we spent as big as we did in Lampard's first summer with the transfer window, I didn't expect us to go that big. Like I know Pice is saying we have to. No, but
I did.
No, but you didn't, because none of us expected us to actually get Havertz until like that became a thing. Like none of us ever thought we could ever get Havertz. Like obviously it's not turned out as great as we all would have hoped, but at the time, like Havertz was like, do you know what I mean? Like how big Havertz was to all of us. The fact that we got him was insane. Like, who knows whether we're going to do that again? Like, yeah, and the only reason we're complaining about last transfer window is because Lukaku is shit. If Lukaku was banging, we'd be like, oh, good.
No, because we didn't get the wing back Tuchel wanted. We didn't get the DM Tuchel wanted. We didn't get multiple profiles that Tuchel asked for. Matt Law said in his article.
Yeah, but no club ever gets that. Like, that just happens. Like, you can't, like Pep sometimes wants players, doesn't get them. Klopp does sometimes want players, doesn't get them. They wanted Werner, didn't get them. They didn't even sign a different player then in that window.
Do you think last summer was generally acceptable? Just when this last summer was done, did you think that was a good window?
The only reason it wasn't acceptable is because Livramento left. If Livramento stayed, it would have been just fine.
Fair enough.
I low-key agree with that. Yeah. Because I think if we kept Livramento and Lukaku actually worked out, I don't think any of us would be complaining. To be honest, we might still have a few complaints, but we'd still say it's decent.
The left back situation is because Ben Chilwell suffered an ACL injury. That's nothing you can predict.
I still think we needed the profile of DM, which is why we've not been as versatile as we could have been this season. Why we're having to wait till next season to see the full fruits of what Tuchel wants to do. So I think it's just another season, not wasted, because I still think we're going to win a trophy or two. But I don't think. I think it could have been. You know, I still feel like we could have been properly in the title race, probably even now with a DM, because I think we've just been.
I don't think you're wrong with that, but I don't think, as much as we're a big club and we're a club with money, I don't think you can expect. I don't go into transfer markets expecting Chelsea to sign a £100 million striker and a 70, 80 million plus DM, because
Yeah,
Tchouameni
Laurenz,
is
bro.
right.
Like,
Would Tchouameni
that's
already
the
have been
minimum.
good enough to make a chance for it? I don't know. Like,
That's the
I've
minimum
learned a
I
bit about
expect, to be
Tchouameni
honest.
now, but I didn't really know how good he was until the summer, right? So I don't know if Tchouameni would have been the solution. And Tuchel apparently decided he wasn't, right? So judging by that, had we signed, like, say Rice, maybe that would have been what we needed to compete. Maybe you're not wrong. But let's not forget two things. We were top until Chile got injured. And you cannot predict ACL injuries. Like, yes, we might have been more technically flexible with the DM, but even without that DM, we were top.
We was
by
top under
5 points,
Lampard
we
as
were
well,
top.
bro. We was top
Sorry?
under Lampard as well. It always falls apart
We
at
were.
Christmas onwards. Doesn't matter
But
what
under
happens.
Lampard, we were like, okay, Lampard wasn't good enough. Now we know the manager is. So if the player stayed fit, what then?
Even most of the reason why we was top, because we were scoring so many defenders were scoring so many goals. It was never really sustainable. We was just riding the wave and hoping it would, hoping it would be, but it wasn't really sustainable, was it?
Yeah,
I think that
I get that, but as in, like, other than 1 or 2, did Chile and Reece James score outrageous goals? Like, we scored goals from set pieces. That's nothing like outrageous. We just have a good
Like
set piece.
Rudiger,
coach, so
Chalobah,
not a big shock.
Silva, like they were
Yeah, but that's not a
scoring
big shock if you
Jorginho
have good set pieces,
penalties.
though.
No, I know, but
We
it's
did that
not.
under
You
Mourinho
don't want
in 04 or 05. We scored loads with defenders.
No, but you don't want to be like, oh, Chelsea win 2-0 this week. Oh, did Havertz and Werner score? Oh no, it was Chalobah and fucking Reece James. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
it's like, you know what I mean?
No,
It's
no,
like,
of course. But as in, what I'm saying is, like, I don't expect our board to sign £100 million player and another £70 million player in the same window. I think
But
I
Laurenz,
do.
that's the
For
thing,
me-
though,
for-
bro.
For me, I
We
do.
can't.
That's
is
minimum
it because
expectations.
what other
Yeah.
club have you ever seen do that?
Lawrence, that's the thing, bro. We just financially, bro, we can't. Like, looking at, I'll link you the video I watched, bro. But financially, we're not in a good place at all. And like, when you start to understand how many businesses are included in Chelsea, and considering we didn't furlough any staff and stuff like that, we're not just talking about like Stamford Bridge, everyone works there. We're talking about other separate companies altogether here. And like, financially, we're not in a great place. And that's why it's now more important than ever that every signing we get, we plan properly, and we have to make sure it hits, because we can't afford to make flops anymore. We can't. We're not in a great place financially. Like, and Sports-wise said it perfectly. We said we maybe won the Champions League at the wrong time because we were set for a record-breaking year of revenue, and the pandemic just shattered it. So right now, like, in the summer, that's why I'm not too hopeful, bro, because I know whatever we're going to have to buy in, we're going to have to sell first, Maybe we still have the money for Kounde, but other than that, bro, we're going to have to sell before we buy. Because financially, we're not in a great
because
place.
you have so many players to sell.
But we
Yeah.
won't sell them.
That
That's
isn't
the
even the
problem.
problem.
Like, we won't sell these Deadwood players. That's the problem. Like, people
Bro,
say,
we got
oh,
20 million
Werner.
for Guay last season. Of course we will.
Well, yeah, but apparently Werner and Pulisic are going to go. Who's going to pay for them realistically? Like, there's like 2 or 3 clubs. For
I
Pulisic,
don't
it's
know.
0. You know what I mean? Like,
But
these
I
guys will
will
all
say
still
this,
be here
like,
next season. We'll have the same problems.
if you two are right with our financial problems, which I still think will not be as serious, I think the numbers, and I don't think what Sports Why I did. I watched the video. I agree it was a good video. I think he's right with everything he said, but I think Chelsea can just compensate for such things. And I will say, now I lost my train of thought. Flip side. What was it? If you two are right with the financial problems, right? Fair enough. But then you can't say the board will automatically be identical to how we've been in the past. Because if we're in money problems, then we will sell players for cheaper. Because, yeah, I know Pies, yeah, but we never have. Yeah, but we've also never been in money trouble. So if we are in money trouble, we will accept selling players for less. And then we will also be able to sell the Deadwood.
But can I make a point to you,
money
though? You said
problem is a genuine issue.
You said about the financials, bro. Like I said, for me, not every signing has to be ridiculous money. I'm okay signing like 15 million, 10 million on a player if they've been scouted properly and they're a good fit for our team. I don't have an issue with signing players who I don't really know of. Like, I'm happy with that. They don't always have to be a big name in my eyes. And that's what I hope Chelsea do. That's what I'm just hoping for. Like, with January, we didn't have any good opportunities coming up. So it's like, all right, we're not going to buy anything, like you said. And in the summer, we're actually going to plan properly. And, like, we're not just going to go for Lukaku or Haaland because they're a big name. Like, we're going to go for players this squad and Tuchel wants because it's the right fit. Like someone said there, like Mendy, perfect example. You know, we didn't really know who he was. A few people had an idea, but we didn't really know him. He was a great fit, and I hope we do more of those signings. Like, we don't always need that like big name, like Lukaku joins Chelsea for 100 mil.
But those Mendy's, they don't grow on trees.
But
You
bro,
can't
they're out
get
there though.
Mendy-
They're
Yeah, no,
out
no, they
there
are.
though, bro.
But you can't
Yeah,
get them.
they're
You
out
can't
there,
get
that's
3
what
of
I'm
them every window, and you can't get them every transfer window. If that was just that easy, everyone would do it. But
But
no
let me
one
make
does
a
it.
point to you. When Liverpool signed Salah, right? A few people knew Salah was decent. Like his numbers in Serie A were good, but they didn't think he was like this amazing player. They just thought he was a good player. Like, I don't mind getting them good players in. You know, you see a player like, let's just think of a player top of my head, like
Jared Bowen, someone like that.
yeah, someone like Jared Bowen. Yeah, that's a good example. He probably wouldn't be cheap because West Ham would like ask for high money. But like a player who you think, oh, he's a good player, you don't think much of it. Like you said with Jota. Like I think the last time he was on the stream, do you remember, Laurenz, about Jota? It's like if you think, oh, he's a good player, and we bring players like that because they're a good fit and they're going to fit the system we're in, innit?
But we
Not just
did
because.
I always
With
say
who?
that I
With
would
who, bro?
always
With
I would
Pulisic
love
and with Ziyech, they were good players when we signed them. They weren't world beaters.
yeah,
The
but
problem is
Pulisic was
they
58
didn't get
million.
better.
man.
They didn't get better with us like Salah did at Liverpool.
Pulisic is like a star signing though. You're signing America's golden child, bro.
And he was
But that's
58
because he's
mil.
America's golden child. But did we think we were going to sign like? We didn't think he was going to be as good as Hazard. Like not immediately anyway. Or
No,
ever.
of course, bro, of course. But like that's
So he
like a
was
big
quite
headline
literally-
signing.
Was Pulisic similar level as Jota when Liverpool signed Jota and we signed Pulisic? I would say yes. Yes, it cost more money, but that's because he was America's golden child. But in terms of ability, similar, I would say.
Yeah, but that's
I
going
don't
against the
know.
point I'm making though, because as much as I love Pulisic, right, and you know he's my favorite player, I don't think it's a player we looked at and thought this would be a perfect fit for Sarri's system. You know, this is a player like we scouted properly, and he's the guy. I think it's a player that was a good opportunity to sign because he was out of favour at Dortmund. And
Okay, I agree. It's weird. The problem is like I think it's easy for us as fans to sit here and say, yeah, I'm not a scout. I don't have to come up with it, and you're right with that. But I don't think you can say, well, you should have just figured one out, because what if there wasn't one? Because you can't just say there is always one, because sometimes there isn't. Like you can't
Bro,
like I said,
bro,
these players don't
the
just fall off
Athletic
trees.
literally did. The Athletic did a whole lot. They're not analysts. Some of them are, but they're not scouts. They did like a whole ass article on like 5 or 6 European left wing backs that, you know how they do, because scouts don't just like go for random. It's not just about going to watch players. They judge things with like data on graphs and compare them to other players and do all sorts of statistical data, right? And like I think one of them, I try to remember one of them they mentioned off the top of my head. I think it was young guy from Spain. I think he's called Moreno. I think he was a Spanish sort of left wing back, very
Alex Moreno, I think
fast.
he plays for Betis Sevilla.
Yeah, him. He was apparently like very, very high rated on all these statistical graphs, and like they were saying, "Oh, this could be a no-brainer if Chelsea approach Betis. He's young, he's fast, he's good in the tackle." Like you would never ever know what that player could do. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just they are out there. The football world is a huge place. Like there's many leagues.
And
there's
just
many
like to go
players.
up the point as well, bro. You said about if you look at our last signings, right? Lukaku was like an optimistic signing, right? It was that big money signing fairs. So very optimistic. It was like he was being hauled around the whole of Europe. You know, like the agent was literally offering to everyone.
as well.
And then you look at Werner as well, opportunist. You've got
Con,
Kai
what
Havertz,
happened to-
opportunist. These guys weren't scouted properly. They're just opportunist signings. Ziyech fairs because I think Lampard picked him out himself. Chilwell fairs. And like Ziyech, for as bad as he is, at times he looks like our best attacker. Chilwell absolutely banged it here. Mendy absolutely banged it here. Thiago Silva probably one of the only opportunist signings that's worked out. And that's just because he's a world-class player.
Whatever happened to Grimaldo as well? We was linked to him for years, and I've not had anything on him in like last 2 transfer windows.
But no one else
Let's-
has signed him. So does that mean it was a good decision not to sign him?
We don't know. You never know until you actually pull the trigger. That's the problem.
You're not
with
wrong.
Chelsea.
But then when we do pull the trigger, and I get Texas Blue is saying,
But
okay,
that goes back to my point.
everybody
You're
can
scared
sign
of
good
what
players,
could
but we
not.
can't.
Lawrence,
Gone.
you're too scared of what could happen, which is bad.
No,
You're too scared of more
That's not the
Deadwood
point.
signings, bro.
Bro, but that's not the point I'm making, though. I'm not saying don't sign anybody. I'm saying if even our shit scouts decide no one's good enough, do I want them to sign someone that even they think's not good? Like, do you get where I'm coming from?
Now, I get where you're coming from, but I think it's because we monitor. If you look at all the players, you see that Chelsea have monitored through the years, right? There's been some really good ones there. I just feel like at times we're just a bit scared to pull that trigger. We're a bit pessimistic.
But if we are
And
in
fans are
money
too scared
trouble,
of what could go wrong
two
because of the
claim we're
previous
in.
signings.
No fucking wonder we're scared to pull the trigger.
Yeah, we're a bit cautious, but we're not cautious of paying Saul the second highest wages at Chelsea Football Club. We're not cautious of paying Lukaku over 300k.
That's a whole different problem.
That's what I don't get. It's like
yeah.
we don't pull the trigger on some things that would make a bit more sense than others. Because the Saul one was weird. Like it was really weird. We gassed it up, but realistically, if that Saul thing happened at the start of the window and not the end, all of us would be saying, "Well, this is a weird one." Like, this guy's been out of favour.
I remember me, bro. I was absolutely desperate because I was worried. I just said, I kept saying, we just need someone in. We need someone in. I wasn't thinking at that point we need the profile of DM because I already accepted by that point that wasn't happening. Tuchel wasn't getting his big profile of DM that we don't have. We was desperate. We needed someone in for depth because I remember actually at that time, everyone was slandering Loftus-Cheek. They were saying there's no way Loftus-Cheek can be the fourth option. There's absolutely no way. We have to sign someone. I remember it. I was saying it myself. I was desperate because Loftus-Cheek was arse in pre-season. So I was like, yeah, he ain't coming back. But, so everyone was so desperate. That's why we were so gassed for Saul because we got that late and we was like, yes, Tuchel's got depth now. But again, it was the wrong
We were starving, bro.
We were starving, bro. Everyone. I remember after his first bad game, all the timeline tweets were, "Oh yeah, we knew this guy was shit, really, anyway, because he was being offered everywhere. Why did Chelsea do it?" But at the time, as fans, you don't think like that because, we were, as you said, we were literally starving because we left it so late, and it will be the same next summer, right? We don't get Tchouaméni. And they send Saul back. They probably signed someone else, for the season or whatever. And it'll be the same thing again. We'll be starving. And if they're not the right profile or not the quality of Tchouaméni or Rice, we'll be like, fuck yes, we brought someone in. But then we'll probably be having the same conversation if they don't do well again. You know what I mean? That's why I said about pre-deals. Just fucking get something done now, you lazy bastards.
Or we get a pre-agreement done in February, March, like we did with Ziyech. Like because the January window is shut in 2 hours. I hope
so. But people can't sit here in the comments and tell me, you're being so negative because I'm allowed to be negative because of the way we act. We've only ever done a few good deals or pre-prepared deals. You know what I mean? I don't have confidence that happens. Are you really going to tell me we're going to get some article in fucking middle of February? Oh yeah, Chelsea have been talking to Tchouaméni. You know what I mean? Like fucking
no, but did you expect it back when Ziyech happened? Because I didn't.
No, I didn't. And you've got a point.
But in all fairness, with the Ziyech, at the end of January, there was a lot of talk about Ziyech.
True. No, you're not wrong. But then, to be fair,
and there hasn't been any talk about Tchouaméni or Kounde this window. Nothing. It's been dead silent. You'd expect that to be active. You know what I mean? You'd expect that to be somewhat active. Talked about again.
How many big money moves, and Tchouaméni and Kounde would be both relatively big money moves. How many big money moves do you see pre-agreements for?
That's true.
It's true, but at the same time, you have to. That comes down to negotiations as well. Like it's not impossible. It's hard to pull off, because no club wants to sell their player. But with Tchouaméni, are you really telling me that Monaco aren't prepared to let him go next summer? Like seriously? They're not West Ham who's going to refuse to sell Rice again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, surely you could work something out. Like, you have a great relationship.
Maybe Monaco are in a situation where they're like, but maybe we make top 4 and then or top 3 in France's case, and we play Champions League. And when we're in the Champions League, we can ask more money. But right now, we don't know whether we'll be in the Champions League.
Yeah,
so we can't agree to anything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Potentially, but then again, I for me personally, I'd like. Obviously, it sounds a bit stupid because I'm not Tchouaméni, but if I'm Tchouaméni, then even if Monaco get Champions League, I'm still moving. You've had your.
Of course, bro. But I think the point Laurenz was making there is with Monaco, let's say they don't get Champions League, they're not going to ask as much for Tchouaméni as they would if they in Champions League. I think that's the point he was making. So, how could they pre-agree a deal whether they don't know if they're going to be Champions League or not next season? I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I kind of get it. It is a good point, but when I say pre-agreement, of course, it'd be nice to get everything agreed, but at least do some background work and put a deal close in play. You don't have to necessarily agree on the price, but sort of get a basis. You know what I mean? We hear nothing about Chelsea doing any of this, and until we actually hear this, I'm going for the board because, what else are they doing? You know what I mean?
But then think back to the Lampard signings when we found out when we signed Werner and Havertz that back in January, Czech and Lampard flew to Germany to talk to them. And we had no idea at the time. So God knows what happened without us having any clue.
It's true. Like, this is why I like coming on these streams, Lawrence, because like when I see things, when we talk about stuff like this in particular, right, I'm pretty negative, right? I know that. And you're a bit more positive than I am. So it's good because sometimes you calm me down a bit.
It's almost like I try to almost counter whatever my guests. So like if you are super positive, I would, because I try to give the stream a bit of depth, right? Because if we all have the same opinion, how boring is that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I need to almost try to bring a bit of counter.
Well, you have good points. Like, I'm not sitting here and saying, fuck the board. They're not doing
points.
Like, they're not. I'm not sitting here saying they're not doing anything for Kounde or Tchouaméni. That's just how I feel. That's how I personally feel. Like, I personally don't think they are, but if they are, fair fuck. So we get the deals done. But I'm still worried for next summer because I just don't think we're proactive enough. I really don't. And like Chelsea don't like it, as Nathan said to us, Laurenz. Chelsea don't like getting in huge auctions as well anymore. Like, they don't like that, So it's difficult. Like, if you have so many clubs going for Tchouaméni and Kounde, like personally, I think Kounde could happen, but I still don't think we're going to be the only club in for him.
But if we don't get Tchouaméni done, I don't think you should be blaming the board. I think you should be blaming Tuchel for that because Nathan told us that was his decision not to get him last summer.
I'll blame a bit of everyone. It was a joint decision, apparently. So.
Yeah. No, it's his Wi-Fi's.
His Wi-Fi's gone.
I froze. Sorry. I froze. I'm back. Bloody hell. Now I'm frozen on my own screen. Am I still frozen to you guys?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Wi-Fi's going as slow as Chelsea.
It's not even the Wi-Fi thing. It's more. Why is it just like I turn the camera off and it's still frozen the same image? It makes no sense.
Class.
I don't know, like just to wrap up.
Change the camera quickly. Go back to the other one.
Still froze.
What the flip's going on? Technical difficulties. Bear with me. While I'm trying to figure out the technical. Say again.
Need like a pop-up screen. Technical difficulties.
Please there we are. By. Hello.
Hey, we can see the smile again. This guy.
I fixed the technical difficulties. Let me actually read out just the super chat from earlier. I'm not quite sure. Is this red, white, and blue like an America thing? And you said red, white, and common, you blues. I kind of like it, but I'm not sure if I get it. Anyway, if you bring a left wing back in January, we change systems in the summer, and that signing cannot play in that system. You've just added more Deadwood. Now, Jester, you're obviously right with that, but obviously when Con and Pi say should have signed someone and the scout should have found someone good, they obviously mean found someone that can play both because otherwise don't sign them in the first place.
And I think that would have been more of a problem if it was a left back and then was changed to a left wing back. Like, I think it's easier for someone who plays wing back to adjust to a left back than it is for a left back who adjusts as a wing back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sorry. This chat, some people in my chat are very funny. Flip saying, "Why look like Alonso on the counter? Like, how did you come
Chelsea in the transfer window?
Why if I'm moving like Alonso on the counter? That's the best one. I love that."
Musa is good. I'm telling you, Musa comes up with a good one. And yes, Becky, you're very welcome. Can you please now stop asking for me to ask people about João Felix? Because I've asked Pice, I've asked Con, I've asked.
Did I not? I was going to say, was that not the same person who said that to me?
Yeah, of course it's the same person for the last 2 months that keeps talking about João Felix.
It's like bad Chelsea text on his burner or something. maybe it's a girl. I don't know.
It's tough, boys. This was age-long stream, which I didn't. For once, I didn't even realize it was this long. Anything else you would like to add, or shall we round it out?
I'd just like to add, I'm disappointed with this transfer window. I said my frustrations now. I've said it on Space. I've said it on my Twitter account. I've said it on here. So now I'm just going to look forward to the rest of the season, bro. Club World Cup, we're going to be champions of the world. Forget champions of Europe, we're going to be champions of the world. And I'm going to shamelessly put that prop. I'm going to be backing the boys to do as well as they can in the league. Top 4 should be a guarantee, hopefully. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to back the boys. I'm going to forget about this January, going to move forward with the season. And hopefully in the summer, we get our fingers out of our bums and we actually be a bit more proactive. But for now, Club World Cup, Carabao Cup final, and maybe maybe even FA Cup this season as well. You never know with Tuchel. So,
bro, maybe Malong Sarr wins us the Champions League.
mate, that would be beautiful. Beautiful scenes.
Imagine that Malong Sarr wins the Champions League. That'd be great. Pice, anything you would like to add, or will you go along with content? I mean, actually, a question to you both: are you both excited for the Club World Cup, or are you more like, oh, no, we had a 2-week break and now it's still not Prem? Now it's first.
I think I am going to be really excited, but I'm also kind of nervous because I feel like if we don't win this, it's a bit of an L. Like the teams aren't great, but we've just like last time we had I think our front four was Hazard, Mata, Oscar, and Torres, and we didn't beat Palmeiras or something like that. So I don't know. Like they are, and actually I watched Liverpool when they was in it, and the team in the final they played a Brazilian team. The Brazilian team took them all the way to 120th minute or something like that. And Liverpool scored late on and won it. So they ain't going to be easy. I know.
And Bayern only won 1-0 as well last year.
Yeah, I know Alli are good. I think that's how you say their name. They're a good team. And I think obviously Palmeiras are in there again. There's a couple of others. I think Monterrey, Mexican teams. We should win with our qualities, but I don't know. We've not. We need this to complete the set. So. We've got to treat it like the fucking Champions League. We have to.
Yeah.
We need to win this. This is
1,000,000%.
huge for us.
I remember a little bit of an anecdote, to leave you guys here. So I remember that back in, it was December 2012, obviously, when we played the last Club World Cup that we were involved in. And obviously it was, where was it? Was it in Japan as well back then, where it was meant to be this year? I think so. And obviously it was morning time here and I was still in school. So, right, I was sitting at my desk and this is 2012, right? So live streaming was not as good as it is these days, right? So I was just sat in the middle of random, whatever class it was, on my phone, on my iPhone 4S, right? Figuring out this dodgiest stream I've ever seen in my life. Couldn't really see anything. Hoping for us to win the Club World Cup. Are you boys... Wait. Got a response from the doctor. Can you boys still hear me, by the way?
I can, yeah. I was just saying,
because the viewer number on the top for some reason says 1 viewer, which is a bit weird. Here we are. Things back to normal.
Hello.
We got a response from the doctor. Let me just finish my anecdote.
Smash the likes, guys, as well. Hit the like button. Over 160 watching. Hit the like, subscribe. Laurenz hasn't said it yet, so I'll say it.
You actually said it like Laurenz as well.
There you go. Big up, guys. Big up.
Not that.
What?
See, Pies learned well. Let me just appreciate it.
I'll do your promotion for you, bro.
So subscribe and like. There you go. I should have said it. I meant to and I forgot. But yeah, I was sat in class, right, watching on my phone, and I was the only Chelsea fan in my class. We're in Austria here. This is not like where it's normal that you just support English clubs. And then the whole class took the piss out of me because Chelsea lost this stupid Club World Cup final. I was fuming. So if we don't win this Club World Cup final, I will flip my shit. Then we better take it seriously. I will be fuming otherwise, right? So Chelsea, sort yourself out.
There's on TV as well.
Take the piss out of me today, but still. Anyway, Pies, sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's on TV as well in England, which is going to be good because I'll actually been nice to actually watch it, but. Yeah, I mean, what Connor's been saying about actually, Chilwell's not going to come back the greatest and stuff like that, which is kind of along the lines of what this doctor is saying. So if anyone doesn't know, he's basically a doctor that's very good. What is he? Is he a sport? Yeah, he's a sports scientist, doctor physical therapy. So he knows a lot about injuries.
What's his at? I will get his at on screen.
His at is 3CB performance. He's very in depth. I ask him all the time. Literally
3 or 3?
Like a number 3 CB. Basically I ask him all the time whenever someone gets injured, like how even from pictures he's like, oh yeah, that's a grade 2 something. I'm like, mad. Looks like a grade 2 something. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. And he's usually accurate, to be fair. So he said, once you have surgery, partial or full is immaterial because they're doing a full reconstruction. What will help Chilwell is the fact that he was able to do the 1.5 months of prehab, which then gives him a stronger foundation post-surgery. But then he put, in either case, the first season back, so next season for Chilwell, is typically a reintegration, slow process, and reacclimatation progress. Physically and mentally will be tough on Chilwell. I think you guys should sign a left wing back. That's what he put. There we go.
Well, there you go.
I hate to say I told you so, but
You did tell us so, but now I go back to, and now this is why I didn't want Digne. Because do I want to sit all fucking next season with Digne? No. Give me a proper good left wing back, but then I also don't want.
I love Digne, bro. I think he's brilliant, but that's your opinion.
But fair, true.
Just stating that, and you know,
it is fair. It is fair. But I don't give a shit. Give me a Theo Hernandez. It's bloody AC Milan in Italy. No one has money. Just sign him. Do you know what I mean? Just sign a proper left wing back. Don't give me like Sosa's and Digne. Like if we're gonna like be we're this big club and we need to sign all these players. I don't want like that's why I find weird, like because you guys are both like very annoyed that we didn't sign anybody, but the people you did want to sign, are, in my opinion at least, equally as mediocre as the players we all want to get rid of right now.
Excuse me, Laurenz. Who did I say I wanted to sign?
Yeah, true. You just said the scouts need to figure something out.
I was like, what is this going on?
There's no way you're telling me Digne is on the same level as Alonso. And
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm with
Ellison,
Laurenz on that. Like, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't have minded Digne if Tuchel wanted him, but I wasn't a fan. I wasn't confident that Digne as a left wing back. That's why I wanted like an Angelino or like a Dest. I know people like crap on Dest all the time, right? And I get it. Like he's not the best in the world, but under Tuchel, playing both of those positions and going forward in our system, he would have cooked. 100% would have cooked. And then when Chilwell comes back and when he's like fully back again, we got cover for right, we got cover for left, and we got more markability. Let's go.
You just said Des would be good going forward in our system, but Digne's one of the best attacking fullbacks in the league.
Bro, like he's also
better than Des defensively and can cross better than Des.
No, he's got a good whip on him, bro. Fairs, but he's not mad like. He's not an engine like Chilwell where he goes up and down, up and down, up and down. He's not like a mad engine. He's not like he's not explosive and he's like wearing the means. He's not the quickest of players. So I see is like
I think Chilwell's good in strides. I wouldn't say he's explosive. I think he's good in long strides.
I wouldn't say he's explosive, but he's that mad engine, bro, and he's got legs on him. You know, like I don't see
Digne's not slow, but he's not as quick as Chilwell. But I do agree with you on that. But I guess it just comes down to difference of opinion. I mean, personally, I really like Digne.
I think Digne is a good player that is good because he's average at everything, but not good at anything.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Exactly that.
Master of crossing.
Crossing and free kicks fair, but that's not enough for me. I needed to be good at more.
He's also very good on the ball, like just in general, in tight spaces.
Yeah, but easy, because can we even judge that from Everton and Aston Villa?
Yes, I mean they're very good, solid Premier League teams. Of course, you'd only get better playing with better players. But I mean, we're talking like we're in talks with him or something. Like he's not even our player anymore. Like, you know what I mean? We didn't get him.
I get you for Digne, and I've never said he's a bad player. But would us playing Digne at left wing back every week, or would I expect us to challenge for the Premier League or the Champions League? No. Fair enough, Pies, if you have a different opinion, but that's for me, right? So if this Mr. Doctor is correct, and probably is, then I want us to sign a proper left wing back.
And I mean, you could say that about Havertz up front last season, bro. You could say you never think we'd win the Champions League without a striker. I mean, he was, but he's been better than Lukaku on
there. Very true. That's a fair point. Can't lie. It's a fair point. But we did win it with Chilwell, though.
We did, but Havertz scored the goal, so
Havertz in the pocket space, chance for Chelsea, goal for Chelsea.
Yeah, it just goes to show, like, signing £100 million pure strikers kind of fucked us, actually. So you never know. What seems perfect, kind of like Hazard to Madrid. Sometimes you never know. Sometimes it's not what you need. It's hard.
It's like that Kanye meme where he's like, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, I guess we'll know. But that is it. Like that is transfers in general, and to be honest. But I still retain my point that some Chelsea fans are just way too scared of what could go wrong now. And I kind of get it. I kind of am as well, because we do have like so many bad signings over the last years, but at the same time, like that doesn't mean you can just sit down and say, oh, well, I'll get over the window. We didn't sign anyone. It's all right.
Yeah. I mean, see, the problem is also like if it was down to me, we'd get rid of the January window full stop anyway. I think it's outrageous that you can sign.
I do agree. It's a pain in the arse because I think I think you do as fans probably expect a bit more than what is actually realistic. But I mean, for us personally, I don't think signing a left wing back was that unrealistic. I think actually that was pretty was looking pretty obvious. And
I mean, Digne would have been easily possible if Chelsea or Tuchel or Digne was a good choice. That we easily could have gotten him. This problem is just apparently Tuchel didn't want him.
I still think he could have probably come on loan, but I think obviously Everton wanted the money, so maybe Tuchel just didn't want him permanently. I don't know.
Maybe. Hey, also, if the way we would have negotiated, we probably would have tried to sign Digne today. But ever since then, Everton would have sacked Rafa, and then Digne would have never left Everton in the first place.
That's true. Yeah.
So who knows? Yeah. But then I guess if Digne probably would have pushed for it because obviously we're much bigger than Everton's out. Who knows? But ladies and gentlemen, 2 hours, 17 minutes. I think we're going to round it out here. I think it's been a fantastic stream of a lot of rambling about a lot of random things, and I had a great time. So I hope you people enjoyed it just as much as I did. So like I said a few minutes ago, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. Hit that big red subscribe button for me. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. Hit the like button as well. Doesn't cost you any money. Barely cost you any time. Big shout out to both Pys and Con. Check out Pys' website. There's a new website now. Link is down in the description. So check that website out. Check out Con's Twitter, obviously, where he most of the time just retweets my things now, which I'm very appreciative of. So big up Con. Check out, obviously, Euro Expert as well, like who obviously was on for a bit earlier. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to round it out here. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. Obviously, let's hope we can win the bloody Club World Cup. But obviously, we'll see you the latest for Plymouth preview. But maybe we'll see you before that. We'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. And I'll see you next time.